Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome. Another episode of Heavy Metallurgy, number 261. I'm Marty. Good to see you. I hope you're all doing well. Been a busy week for us here. It's been good to have a lot of you folks participating. And joining me tonight, as always, is the best co-conspirator out there, Professor Steele himself, Alan.
Ooh, fancy.
Fancy, yeah. How you doing, man?
We got no topic and we got no guest. I'm a nervous wreck.
It's all fine.
It's all falling apart. No, it's good. It's been another busy work week, but things are settling down. And glad we can hang out with folks as usual. As you said, it's been a busy metallurgy week. And folks, that's all this guy over here. Marty has been quite the busy beaver in terms of bringing you reviews and album club things. Tomorrow night, he's bringing you another cool first edition show. So definitely give it up for the dude over here. The channel may be called metal, but the boy over here is hardcore.
Yeah, everybody, come check. Join us tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. New show, the Sabbatharium Hour. Hard to say. Yeah, Rick, and you ever wonder what it would metallurgy be like without Alan or myself? Well, hey, tomorrow night you're gonna get a taste. It's Rick and Logan. We're going to be talking about doom, stoner, sludge, desert rock, all sorts of things under the sun. And it should be a fun show. We've been getting things behind the scenes ready to go for it. So it should be a good show for you guys to check out if you're into that sort of thing. Check us out. Yeah, busy week. Good week. Good to have some content for everybody. It's been a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
And there's...
Let's see. Oh, Corey's asking, is the new show weekly? No, it's going to be kind of a longer spacing than that. Don't know for sure. Kind of whatever Logan and Rick settle into.
I think the initial idea is quarterly, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. You don't want to lock anybody in for too much and burn them out. So we don't want that to happen, of course. And we're very thankful that they even want to do that over here. But we appreciate them, and it's going to be a good show. You guys are going to be turned on to a lot of stuff, hopefully.
Yep. As long as Logan or Rick pushes the big red button once every 296 minutes, the island will not explode.
Exactly. Yep. And they eat the Mr. Beast chocolate. But yep, we don't have a guest tonight, and partially my fault. A few people that did ask couldn't do it. So,
it's just, we checked with a bunch of folks. It's a busy time of year for everyone. Lots of stuff going on. Is folks are willing to spring, getting summer plans set up. And again, yes, Marty and I have both been extremely busy too. So we figured, you know what, we're just going to wing it ourselves for tonight.
Thankfully, though, Alan came up with the idea. Let's do a question and answer, and we put the call out, and we got a whole bunch of questions. A lot of them are very, very, very good questions. So. It tastes like that Mr. Beast chocolate tastes like chalk and YouTube disappointment. I see it at Walmart every time I'm in the line. I'm like, it can't be good. It can't be good quality chocolate. So
made with the finest drywall straight from Taiwan.
But yeah, since we've put out the call, we've got a whole bunch of questions off of our YouTube community, and we got a whole bunch of questions posted to us from our beloved Discord server community. So cheers to everybody. And
thank you. Yes, big thank you to everybody for posting questions. Marty and I did not know what kind of response we would get. It's like we may get 2 questions, we may get 36 cat memes. This could go in a lot of directions, but folks have really poured in a lot of cool looking questions. So appreciate folks taking the time to do that.
Yep. And it's built the show. We're not too worried about. We were thinking, how are we going to pad it out? Well, we're going to be talking a lot tonight. So obviously questions in the chat are also welcome, but we're going to just kind of start off right away and get going because a lot of people put some time into this, so we want to accommodate.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll get started. He's got some and I've got some. Question to each of you. This is from Peter, the Metal Vault over in Ireland or Iceland. Ireland. He's in Ireland. To each of you, what has been your favorite episode so far and why?
Good question. Marty, you want to answer first?
I mean, it's all a big blur at this point. One of my favorites is the Scott Burns interview. That the noise when we had David Gelke on, this was another David. A lot of stuff with David Gelke are my favorites. We talked about the Noise book, absolutely a fun episode.
The Chuck book,
yep. And of course, all the authors. Jeff Wagner. I had a good time on the Dark Throne deep dive, where basically it just degenerated into a drunken fest, which is kind of how the channel shifted during the pandemic. So it was kind of like a return, but it's just like friends sitting around talking about, a band that they love. And
it's kind of what Dark Throne's career has devolved into also. So, I mean, it was very fitting.
And for the record, I still have not bought the new Dark Throne. So there's that. Alan, how about you?
Let's see. Yeah, we've had lots of good episodes. I think my default answer might be the Scott Burns episode. That was obviously, like a very, pivotal figure in heavy metal for a long time. It was something that kind of fell into our lap as well. We were sort of offered, that chance thanks to David Gilkey. He's like, hey, I can set this up if y'all are interested. I'm like, oh, wow. It was an episode we both prepared for quite a bit, having, somebody with that many big ties to legendary bands and albums, and couldn't have asked for like a nicer, more gracious guest either. He spent, the full 3 hours on stream with us. We talked about a lot of the albums. And just a super nice, very humble individual.
Yeah.
So it could not have asked for more. It couldn't have gone any better if we'd scripted it. So my default answer would be yes, the Scott Burns episode.
And ultimately, this is going to sound super cheesy, but doing it every week with this guy, it's fun. We have a good time, even if it's just this. It's good to reconnect every week. We both lead busy lives, and we're friends. So it's nice to spend time with your friends, of course.
Exactly.
Right. Before you read one, Alan, let's get this one right out of the way from the Metal Hillbilly.
Sure.
Blind Guardian, Nightfall in Middle Earth, or Gamma Ray, Land of the Free.
Ooh, so we're doing keeps or reaps. Nice. Nightfall in Middle Earth or Land of the Free. I would keep Nightfall in Middle Earth out of that pair, simply because Gamma Ray has a lot of other albums of similar style and caliber. But Nightfall in Middle Earth is such an achievement in terms of making that concept work in album form. I don't think another band could pull that off. There's a lot of good Gamma Ray albums. There's only one Nightfall, though. So that would be my pick. What about you?
Yeah, I go with Land of the Free. I like both albums a lot. They're both amazing, but that Gamma Ray record is... I could never not hear Man on a Mission again. What a great, amazing song. But
yeah, well, Gamma Ray never fit 3,251 years of Elvish history into an album either, so,
Right on. This is true. All right, Alan, what you got?
All right, let's see. We'll jump over here to the YouTube comments. Let's see. Our first one is from our buddy Shredbeard over at the Shredbeard channel. He says, yeah, this is a great idea, guys. My question is, if Marty and Alan started a band together, what would the band name be, and what metal genre would they play?
Sex Condor is the name of the band.
That's kind of hard to beat. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's already, perfect. What kind of music would it be?
I think we would have. I think here's what we do. I think we'd have to really throw a curveball. It'd be a power metal band, but we would wear the stupid costumes like every other power metal band now is required to. But the music would be absolutely like total raging balls to the walls of Jericho type worship power metal. So there'd be like no keyboards, none of these, like silly bouncy lyrics or anything. We'd come up with the most ridiculous superhero knockoff costumes imaginable, but it would be like, total Storm Warrior meets Early Running Wild meets Walls of Jericho. So it'd be total kick-ass power speed metal with the stupidest packaging we could come up with. And we can come up with some pretty stupid packaging.
I better start practicing more. I better start practicing more, I guess.
That's my thought. With this whole Sex Condor thing, we'll make it like Aztec themed or something. We'll have like, big, like, wings on with, tie-dyed feathers or something. Come up with like some, good stage names. like Quetzalcoatl what? And
We started off kind of taking it a little too literally until we decided that one of us would have to be the sex condor and the other one would have to be the slave, and that just the ramifications of that.
Yeah. No, we're not going down
No,
that.
no.
That's a different power metal subgenre that we're not into.
The band would break up after one unfortunate practice.
Yeah.
Balls
Although Rob
to
Halford
jerk.
did express interest in doing the vocals for that project.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, well, that's cool.
There was there was some commercial appeal there, I guess.
Hell yeah. I want to hear
All
that
right.
band.
Thanks, Shredbeard. Appreciate the
Thanks,
fun
Shred.
question. All right, Marty, back to you.
All right. From Carbon off the Discord server. If time and money weren't a factor and you could choose your own adventure for the future of this channel, what would that evolution look like? And what's the end game content you would put out?
So time and money aren't factors. We can basically scale this however we wish. Okay.
Everything gets better if you throw money at it. That's what if you learn one thing in this life, everything kind of goes away if you got money to throw at it. It's amazing.
You get what you pay for.
You get what you pay for. Well, that's a hard question to really ponder because, obviously, Alan and I are both very busy. I would like to have, more time. I found this out this week. If I have more time at my disposal, I'm actually proactive and get quite a bit of stuff done. So I really like the fact that we have amazing contributors to this channel. A lot of people that we hang out with and work with here. And I would definitely build on that a bit more because I think people like this channel for us, which is great. We really appreciate that. But also there's some awesome talent that is going to be coming on and doing some stuff that I would like also to get praise and people to go on and check out their channels and all that stuff as well. So if money wasn't an issue, I would pay people a lot better and spend more time coming up with content outside of what we haven't already done. What do you think, Alan?
Good points. Yep. And yeah, just, for, true transparency, in case folks weren't aware, like, when we have guests do album reviews or interviews or stuff for us, yes, Marty absolutely does pay them for that content. They're not, we don't expect them to do it, out of the generosity of their hearts or anything. They're dedicating their time and effort, and they are compensated for sure. I think time and money off the table, unlimited resources. I think it would be very cool to get a lot of those content creators that you just mentioned together in one place for an in-person type of event,
which we have talked about, oddly
which
enough.
we've discussed as sort of more like the coma fantasy dream from Days of Our Lives or something. But no, to actually just find a central location, be able to pay everyone to travel to said location and do something crazy, 12-hour live stream from the ballroom of the hotel with however many people could make 6 of us in the same room doing some kind of marathon show for folks to enjoy. I think that would be a really cool kind of build towards it, climb. What was the phrase? End game kind of thing. Something like that.
That'd be fun. Yeah. We're still in the process. We've been doing this for a while now, and we have the content we have, but it would be fun to expand and do some other. That's what we're trying, some different stuff. The Sabbatharium hour next tomorrow is one of those ideas. So we're just gonna shit's gonna come up when it comes up, and when things become aligned, and but great idea, Alan. That would be a ton of fun for sure.
Indeed. Let's see. Before I read another one, let's pull one up. Here's one for you, Marty, from the live chat. Ouroboros Nate's asking if you have a favorite amp or guitar pickups, kind of, anything particular about your gear that you prefer, or if you're not that picky.
Gear chasing is one of those things that I just don't throw money into. I wish there was a service as a musician where, you watch all these YouTubers talk about all this crap. You wish you could could rent the gear for like a week and have it in your own setup, in your own system. See if it works for you. If it doesn't, you pay a fee for trekking it out, and you box it up and you send it back and check it out something else. You know, I bought a Black Star Metal HT 100 head, and it sounds, I sold some albums and got it. It rips. And I've just recently got, well, this thing. Hold on. It's an amp modeler. It's like 7 years old. It's a Headrush pedal or gig board. And you know what? I've been using it for a couple weeks now. This thing crushes, absolutely destroys. So I got it for $200 from Guitar Center. So my big amp is sitting at home, and that is I have that and a 100-watt pedal contraption on my pedal board. And I've completely downsized my rig. It's what everybody's doing right now. They're switching over to this crap. And for a reason. It sounds pretty crushing for the live situation. Yeah, it's great. But as far as pickups and stuff, man, active pickups are great. I've got a guitar with EMGs. It sounds great. TJ uses Fishmans and a couple guitars, and those sound great. I'm not picky. As long as it's brutal and has a lot of nice warm gain, I'm psyched. So thanks for the question.
Good deal. All right, let's pull one from the YouTube post that Marty made earlier. This is from Captain Crusader. Let's see. He said, yeah, first, this is one of the best channels on YouTube, one of my favorites overall. I'm from Europe, so it's hard for me to catch the live streams. We understand, and glad you enjoy it, Cape Crusader.
You're too kind, man. Thanks.
Let's see. I like this question. Here we go. I would like to ask, what was the first album that massively disappointed you from a band that you were a big fan of? That feeling of this band can do no wrong, suddenly getting crushed. And also, well, there's a second part, but let's answer the first part there. So, yeah, Marty, the first album, the first time that one of your key bands massively let you down. I have my answer if you need a moment.
I've got two pretty easy ones. Morbid Angels, Aluminum Anus album, and Celtic Frost Into the Pandemonium, which I did tolerate after a while, and it moved into Cold Lake. So those are two that come to mind pretty quickly.
Okay.
How about you?
For me, and I had never thought about this, so yeah, I liked the question. And now that I've thought about it, it explains my vitriol to one particular album that's been well documented on this channel over the years. I think the answer for me is Overkill's I Hear Black. I honestly do. Because that was 93. I'd been listening to metal for a few years by then. Hadn't had a lot of major disappointments up to that point, especially not by a band I was really into. But Overkill I was very into by that point. And I got that album, and it was just, a total like, what the fuck happened here kind of moment. The other answer, might be, the Black Album from Metallica, which did come out earlier, but I don't know. It feels like Overkill might be the answer. And that might explain why that one has like sort of scarred me so badly.
Right.
Some would say disproportionately badly, but it was one of the first times that one of those bands, that was, my band, one of my key bands, really dropped the ball for me. Even Halloween's Pink Bubbles Go Ape, that was a weird album, but it still had enough content on it that I was okay with it. It was like, okay, this isn't as good, but it was still okay. So I wouldn't cite that one. So yeah, probably the Black Album or I Hear Black.
Black Album is a good pick because they completely shattered my Wheaties as well with that one.
Yeah. And I mean, that probably is the first time, although that one for me was still early enough in my metal evolution. I don't know. It doesn't feel like, obviously I was very into Metallica by that point, but I don't know, in the context of this question, it feels like Overkill by then. I loved Metallica by that point, but I didn't have the same duration of exposure to them. Yeah, I had just gotten into them like around when Justice came out, when I started listening to metal. So it wasn't like I went back to Kill 'Em All with, for a decade with Metallica. Anywho, there was a second part to this question. Also, what record do you guys most regret selling or getting rid of? Is there one that you really regret letting go?
There was a while I was selling stuff on eBay, and I was surprised at some of the prices I was getting for stuff. I had a Burning Witch single that was really cool that I got rid of. Kind of bummed about doing that. That's the first thing that pops in my head. But after that, I kind of quit doing that. I quit selling stuff like that. How about you? Is there anything that pops into your head?
The first one that popped to mind was an old new wave of British heavy metal LP by a band called Incubus. The album's titled "To the Devil a Daughter." It's on the Guardian label. It's always been kind of hard to find. I got a copy of it for a really good price back in the 90s. And I didn't keep it long. The problem was I was expecting it to be something similar to Venom, just based on the name, the title, the cover art. It all pointed towards like a really heavy, raucous kind of band. And they're not that style band. They're closer to something like Darkheart or Praying Mantis. And so it just was like, I was like, oh shit, this isn't what I wanted. And I kind of traded it off real fast. But it's not an easy album to track down. It can be a little pricey. And when I went back and checked it out, years later, just through tape trade and stuff, I'm like, that's really not bad for that style. It's just not the style I expected it to be. And it didn't give it a second chance. I needed to adjust my ears and give it a fair shake. So yeah, probably the Incubus album, because it's one I've never tracked back down. I probably could if I really wanted to, focus on it and drop some money on it, but it's still not good enough that I don't want to be paying $100 or something for a copy of it. So it would be kind of nice to still have the Incubus album.
I will say there was a time during the Maniacs days that we just had tons and tons of promos, and all the power metal stuff I just was too extreme at the time to care, and I would give them all away. And now I'm finding myself going through and finding the little CDs on eBay going, damn, I wish I'd kept that or even listened to it. That would have been nice. This is here, God of Grind, Benji, still on the Metallica train, super fan over here, over 2,000 bootlegs. Dude, that is awesome. It's awesome and a little crazy, but mostly awesome.
If that's, yeah.
Wow, there's that many bootlegs. I guess it makes sense. They're a huge band, right?
It does, yeah. I wouldn't have guessed that. And was that many for anybody, but no, that's cool. Great. It's always cool, to see those kind of collections from the super fan who really goes that deep. Even though it's not for me, it's always cool to see and hear about that stuff. All right, Marty. So that was Cape Crusaders questions from YouTube. I think you started one in the live chat you wanted to go back to.
Oh, I did?
I don't know. Maybe I did.
I started one.
Something got started a second ago.
What guitar duo do you guys feel goes nearly unrecognized that you feel particularly strong about in metal?
Knee-jerk answer, Psychotic Waltz. They had an amazing guitar tandem. Well, still do, because it's still the same guys when they came back a few years ago. They just have a really cool, neat way of playing off of each other that you don't hear in a lot of bands. And again, they're a quirky, weird band in a lot of ways. But yeah, the guitar work there was always really cool. And I mean, it's a band that's severely overlooked. And as such, the guitar duo also overlooked.
I think for me, the one that pops right to my mind is the Hank Sherman, Michael Denner guitar duo, Merciful Fate. That, to me, seems obvious, but whenever people talk about that, it's King Diamond, King Diamond, King Diamond. So, I think those two wrote some of the most interesting and amazing guitar solos and the way they fed off of each other. And even that transposed over to the guitar duo of Michael Denner and Andy LaRock when King Diamond band started up. Those two complemented each other very well. And they're rarely talked about. They really talked about, and like I said, King Diamond is the focal point, and understandable. He's a unique bit of charm for both of those musical projects. But man, look at the heart of that shit. It's the guitars, it's the riffs, the way they're layered, and the solo work. Oh my god, so good.
Yeah, no. If the question had been like name best, I probably would name Denner Sherman.
Yeah.
I don't think of them as underrated because they're so damn good and everybody knows the band, but you're right. They sometimes the spotlight kind of shifts over there to the microphone more than to the guitar spot sometimes. Good deal.
All right. Well, Velmix here. He's got a two-parter. Has either of you ever considered giving up the weekly show? If yes, why? If no, what keeps you going, even though it can be quite a time-intensive commitment? Alan.
Okay. Sorry, I'm just typing out a quick reply over here. Someone was asking about the Lex Legion single. I have not thought about giving up at this point. It's still fun and enjoyable to do. Like Marty said at the beginning, it's fun just to get to hang out with your friends, talk about something you really do love. But yes, the question is right. It does take a lot of time, and doing it week in, week out, you don't have big breaks in between. After a Friday show, Marty and I usually don't talk about it on Saturday, but by Sunday night, Monday, we often have to be like, all right, well, who are we going to reach out to for the next show if we don't have a guest schedule? What do we want to talk about? Because then you got to give folks a couple of days to reply, to let them think about topics they may want to discuss. And if someone's not available again, sometimes it can take a few days to find someone who's got a free Friday. So yeah, it definitely does keep you on your toes. It's, kind of a regular part of the routine, but no, I haven't. I'm quite happy and enjoying doing it here. There will come a time, like with all things, when things have to come to an end. Even Jupiter must bow before Terminus. Sorry, channeling my inner Shakespeare there for a minute. But
the slave must bow before the sex con. Oh, wait a minute. Damn it.
You see that? You see that's why you don't have the same the same copyright kind of credit as Shakespeare.
Call HR.
But no, for so far so good. Still going.
Yeah, I mean, let me give you younger folks a view into the dynamics of an old person, and a person that is now receiving AARP mail weekly and funeral home mail weekly, is the fact that you become very routine based in your older age. There's some circumstances around my house that I'm not going to be going out and doing a lot of traveling or doing this or that. I need to be kind of home based. So this is very much appeals to my interests. I get to sit around and talk about the music that I have pined over, since I was a teenager. And this is probably the only way I can share my collection with the world. Not that anybody gives a shit, but I've amassed, so has Alan. We've both amassed a lot of knowledge and a lot of music. And you know what? It's fun to talk about it. It's like baseball stats, except for music. And I'm Finnish, and we are very tenacious. And I often don't know enough when to quit. So it's like a perfect storm. I don't think about it, to be completely honest. There might have been a few days over the years where I'm like, oh, I'm just not feeling it tonight. But you know what? As soon as we get in the dugout and start talking and laughing and, busting balls like on Wednesday night, or it goes away almost instantly. And, you guys in the community, again, this sounds cheesy, but it's true. The community, if it was, 115 people calling us stupid and,
having to block, 20 trolls a night.
20 trolls a night for all this bullshit.
Whatever.
That might change that a little bit, but even that, I can look past that as well. So I don't know. This is kind of something I enjoy doing, and I just want it to get better. I just want to keep doing it until the wheels fall off, or something comes up where one of us can't. And there's even contingency plans there. If something happened to me tomorrow, Alan's got the keys to the kingdom. He can get in and do anything and everything. So
I've already programmed the Marty Worm hologram.
Yes.
Just gotta type in a few commands, and he'll be a little glowy on that side of the screen from now on. But we'll make it work. We'll make it work. Yeah. And Napalm Tomahawk. Thank you. That's cool to hear. Glad we can be some entertainment for you. That's always nice to hear.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you so much. The other part of his question, what is the worst experience you had during all these years of Metallurgy shows?
That's a very fair question. And I honestly can't think of anything. I mean, other than, a few technical glitches here and there,
which are inevitable.
And I mean, we've always worked through them, but I mean, there's a couple of similar questions in the list, where like, have you had like a nightmare guest or something? And amazingly, we never have.
It's amazing. We have not.
Everyone we've had on, has been a really good guest. No one's ever like frozen up or gone off on some kind of crazy off-topic rant. So, yeah, really minor technical glitches. About the worst thing that's ever happened is what Tony leaving his mic on when he went to take a whiz. We all listened to him, fill the bowl. But I mean, that was hilarious. That wasn't a problem. So, yeah, really, really no problems. We've been very, very lucky in that regard.
Hey, Black and Chaos. I have not even got the Panopticon shirts on screen yet. The records were delayed at the plant. Again, it's annoying. Believe me, it's annoying. They're supposedly shipped. So I'm told they've been shipped. They should be arriving next week. I will get to the shirts next week. So, so I would say send me an email and I will send the label an email and I will hopefully see it. I've been shitty with checking on email too lately. Best yet, go on the Bind Rune message, Facebook, send me a message there, or my own personal, Marty Ritkinen. Let me put my name in here. I just put my name in the comments. Look me up on Facebook and send me a message. That will be the best way to get a hold of me. Or on Instagram on the Heavy Metallurgy channel. Sorry, a little business talk here. Sorry. Yeah, Alan, you're up.
All right, let's see. Next question here. Living Dead Wax asked, is there any particular piece in your collections that you would want your family to keep for when you are gone? For example, I told my wife to keep my Rush and Typo Negative stuff for my daughter if something happens, but the rest is fair game to sell. So
before you answer that, Mike, thank you so much, brother.
Oh, thank you.
We appreciate you. Thank you.
Over to the screen.
Everybody give, hold on, let me do this the right way. Now that we have the technology, let's give Mike a round of applause.
There we
go. He's one of our 4 moderators over on the Discord channel, and they have cleaned it up after a little incident we had over there some time ago. They've got it running perfectly great. So, right on. Anyway, go ahead, Alan. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. So the question from Living Dead Wax was, is there anything that we would like our families to keep or hold on to after we're gone? That's a good question. I thought about it. I don't think there is. I mean, if somebody in my family was into it, if like my kid was into it, of course they'd be welcome to keep whatever they wanted. If they're not into it, I wouldn't want them feeling obligated to keep something. This, I guess, gets just something bigger about my gifting philosophy. When I give something to somebody, it is theirs, and they can do whatever they want to with it. They can keep it forever. They can trade it. They can sell it. They can take it and throw it in the trash. It is not mine anymore, and I'd have no say in what they do. I'm not a big fan of giving people things with strings attached. This is like, hey, we're going to give you this thing, but now you've got to use it this way, or you've got to keep it forever, or, oh, you have to take, here, we're giving you money, but you have to put it into, a 401 IRA, Roth, something or another. It's like, what if I want to spend it? What if I want to buy a record or get something for the family or have a crazy weekend full of blackjack and hookers? If it's my money, I will use it how I want to. If you're giving it to me with contingencies, then it's not really mine, and I'm not keen on that. So I don't think I would request or try to put any conditions on anything in my collection. If someone in the family wants to keep certain things or keep the whole thing, that's great. But I don't think I'd, request them to.
Yeah, I mean, my kid he knows that all the collection's all his if he wants it. And I know that there's stuff in here he's not going to care for. So I told him, I've tried to separate out stuff that I know he's going to want and the rest of it. I told him to sell it. Guitars, amps, stuff like that. He doesn't play. So, like I'm with Alan. When I'm gone, it doesn't matter. Just try to make as much money off of it as you can. Hopefully my friends would step up and help him try to sell some of the stuff and get some money, because I have no money to leave him. I just have some stuff, some, culture, pop culture, metal stuff, which some of it, as we all know, is worth some money. Hey, Lee, thanks a bunch, man.
It's no problem. We're happy to take care of Shred. He's good. He's good people.
Shred's good folk. Don't you worry about Shred. Okay. You read that one? Where are we at here? Oh, here's the one from Tumbles the Tactical off the Discord server. Question for you both. Since you both review and have reviewed albums, how do you go on reviewing and evaluating how good an album is? Which aspect do you prioritize? Do you change the approach and priorities, and how you do change them? And how do you change them, if you do, when evaluating different genres like black, death, thrash, or power?
Oh, yeah. Excellent question.
Great question.
Yeah. And for folks that are interested in this kind of thing, plug for Hate Meditations. They did an episode, I want to say it's maybe 6 months or so ago. The guy that runs that channel, Shelly, he doesn't do, constant content, but his content's really, really good when he does put stuff out. He did an episode a while back about sort of like, I think it's titled something like, what is the purpose of album reviews, or what is the purpose of metal journalism, something like that. So folks could dig into that if they wanted more. And thank you, Miss A.
Thanks, Miss A. You guys are too kind. Thank you.
Screen's moving too fast. But no, it's a really good question. I think for me, like the most important thing, regardless of genre, it comes down to just enjoyment. Do I enjoy listening to the album? But yes, then in different genres, you might enjoy listening to things for different reasons. Like, power metal needs to be like, does it kind of get the blood pumping? Is it like, really make you want to bang your head or grab the air guitar or something like that? Or the song's catchy, still heavy enough, going to stick with you? The criteria would be different when thinking like, a black metal album or something. There, it's going to be more like, how, sinister does it sound, or how esoteric is it getting? If it's going, is it, traditional black, white, Xerox style Scandinavian black metal, or are we doing the Imperial Triumphant kind of thing? I think they do get evaluated differently, but at the end of the day, it's all going to come down to, do I enjoy listening to that album? If so, I'm going to review it positively. And if I can't get into it, well, then I'm going to review it negatively. So I think that's kind of the key criteria for me. Play it a few times, figure out, is this an enjoyable listen? Do I think other people are going to enjoy listening to it? It is a big thing I try to convey also when reviewing. What do you think, Marty?
Well, one thing that is kind of noticeable, I think, over the years is how times have changed. When I started reviewing albums and demos back in the day, it was 1995 is when Worm Gear started. And there was a definite difference between demo level bands and bands that were out on record labels. And it was a lot easier to listen to something pretty quickly and say, well, these guys can't play their instruments for shit. There was a definite beginner curve on some of, a good share of bands. As the years have gone on and technology has improved, the demo is kind of a thing. People still do them, but if you go and look on Metal Archives, there's a lot of bands, their first release is their first album. And people's technical skills and years of practicing and learning how to play the instrument has grown. So it's gotten to the point where just about everything we get is technically proficient, very well done, skilled musicianship. What it all boils down to for me is, like Alan said, do I like it? But still, that doesn't make it good or bad. And I think that's part of the interaction you have with your community, whether you're writing a review or talking about, like we do on here, the video magazine type of thing. The people kind of get to know your tastes and that's the hope. They watch you enough or read you enough that they get to, well, Marty's saying this about it, but I know that I like some of the stuff that he doesn't like, so I can navigate. I kind of see behind the veil a bit. But just about everything that comes out these days is technically good. So it's all, you're basically, you know, how then you start have to peel back. Are they structuring their songs well? Does the song make sense? Does it flow well? The transition's good. And then, do I like it? And that it doesn't matter if it's death, black, power, goth, industrial. Do I like it? Does it fit my ear? Yeah. There isn't much new under the sun anymore. So that was one problem back in the day when I was doing Worm Gear and Metal Maniacs. I was just so much stuff. You started to favor the really technical and avant-garde special things like, ooh, these guys are doing something fun and exciting, until, 5 years later you realize you have not touched that album again because it's too complex or weird, and you want to just go back to the Left Hand Path or the Carcass albums or whatever is more comfort food. I don't know, I'm rambling, but just you do it enough, you just kind of, hey, consumer, thank you so much. Cheers. Appreciate you so much.
Yeah, glad you're able to stop lurking and check us out live tonight. That's great.
That's great, man. Join the community. Everybody's super cool. I don't know if you answered the question here, but how do we do it? Just years of doing it and having an opinion. People that don't have an opinion reviewing stuff, they probably shouldn't be. Or people that like every single thing,
like you said, at that point, you can't really see if your tastes align with theirs.
Exactly.
Because you're only finding out maybe we like the same things, but I don't know what you dislike. So yeah, I don't know when to where to draw that line. Oh, a few other super chats coming in here. North of the Rockies, thank you very much. Always great to have you in the live chat. And also
Mr. Rudolph, a former Michigander. Hey man, how's it going? Requiem magazine in the house. Cheers to you. He does all the artwork for Decibel, all the hand-drawn stuff.
Very cool.
Good to see you, Mark. Long time no chat. Hope you've been well.
Thank you so much for the super chat. Really appreciate it.
But yeah,
right. Is it my turn then on question?
It's your turn. Yeah, I forgot my train of thought. Thank you everybody for the super chats. You're too kind. Seriously.
Really do appreciate them.
There's some more here too. Billy Ramone, thank you so much.
Go ahead. Yep.
Area 51 escapee. Cheers. Thanks a bunch.
I like the name.
Yeah.
That's fun.
When you run, do you have to have your arms behind your back like this, like they were doing when they were going to storm the Area 51? Anyway. Cheers,
all
man.
Right. Let's pull up another YouTube question here. This one's from Stormrider, a longtime viewer. And let's see, has a few kind of rapid fire questions here. I think some of these we can do relatively fast. One is, well, let's see, this one may take a moment. Rank favorite sub-metal genres, like least favorite or most favorite. There's so many, but yeah. So Marty, do you have like a most favorite and or least favorite?
Could you read it again, Alan? I'm sorry. I was reading what someone said, and I apparently can't read and listen at the same time. I'm sorry.
No problem. It's not an easy task. But let's see. Stormrider's got a 4-part question. The first one is like rank. It says rank subgenres, but there's not a list, so I'm going to modify it just a little bit. So like a favorite and least favorite metal subgenres.
Metal subgenres.
Yeah. Least favorite for me would probably be something like, gore grind. It's just not a style I get into. So most favorite, it varies over time. So it's a little hard to say. If I had to default to one, it might be something like 90s German power metal would be, if that's too specific, maybe something more in the epic metal niche, the Manila Road, Kirathungal, Dark Quarter style. It's not a genre that gets talked about a lot, but it's one that is consistently high quality for me. So I think those would be my answers for today. What about you, Marty?
Gore grind, I'm with you there. That stuff is just, and gore grind, war metal. War metal has one thing to say, and so does gore grind. And if you enjoy the thing that they say over and over between all the bands, great, it's for you. Not for me. Fine. Not for me. Mm-hmm. And I struggle a bit with the gothic metal, even though I do enjoy gothic music. Gothic metal sometimes just doesn't fit all the way for me. I'd rather just be pure straight up goth than goth metal.
It can be done well, but it can be done pretty sappy, not so well too. Yeah, I would agree. What's a favorite for you?
Uh, uh well, black metal. I don't. My favorite changes. If I stayed in just one zone all the time, I would have burn out a long time ago.
Sure.
Lately it's been a bit more black metal lately, I would have to say.
Okay. Yeah. Jay lists some really good ones too. I mean, these are metalcore, new metal, groove metal. I mean, that's so far out of my wheelhouse. I didn't even think to say
Yeah,
them.
I mean, new metal is not even. I don't own a single new metal anything.
I probably do own one if I dug around, but yeah. And again, hey, for folks that like that stuff, that's absolutely fine. I'm not. I don't make. I'm never going to make fun of somebody for liking a style of music I don't like. But yeah, it didn't even occur to me to mention any of those, Jake. They're just a bit further out. But would be perfectly good answers because I don't listen to any of that stuff. All right, let's see. Storm Rider Part 2.
Hold on one second before you do that. Sunday morning sessions. Thank you so much for the super chat.
Thank you,
we
Sunday.
Appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Yep, Sunday is a regular in the chat and always funny, always lots of good input. All right, let's see. Storm Rider Part 2. Favorite food and beverage?
I miss beer. Not gonna lie, I miss beer. I used to enjoy me some cheap old man beer. Favorite food? I really like Chinese food.
Good answer. Yep.
Big time Chinese food fan. How about you?
Food, shrimp. As long as it doesn't involve coconut. If it involves shrimp, I will consume it.
Shrimp is maggots of the sea.
And you can fill my skull with maggots. Skull full of sea, skull full of ocean magnets right here. But if you put coconut on them, you have desecrated God's greatest culinary creation. No coconut. Coconut's a flavor I just can't do. Beverage, I don't know if I have a favorite beverage. I don't know. I don't even really have like a favorite beer. I know I drink this big Kona on camera quite a bit. It's a lighter beer, so it doesn't bog me down while we're streaming and stuff. So yeah, I don't think I have a favorite beer or a favorite drink, but I'll go with shrimp for food. Let's see. Storm Rider Part 3. Other hobbies besides listening and playing to music. For years, I did a lot of Magic the Gathering. That was about 10 years of my life. I have not messed with it in the past year and a half or so, though. It's like a lot of hobbies, it's gotten too expensive. It's gotten a little bit silly. They're incorporating a lot of pop culture stuff in it that I don't really enjoy or appreciate as part of the game. So yeah, it's just like I only have so much time. I only have so much money. I still like chatting with the folks I played with and all that, but playing and collecting and trying to build decks and stuff for that game is just that phase of my life is done for now. Maybe I'll pick it back up sometime, but not for now. That's the only other one that's been like a big hobby in recent times. What about you, Marty? Besides music, what does the worm do?
I'm pretty boring, to be honest. I'm in a band. That's something fun to do. It's still music related, obviously, but The Glorious Dead. And other than that, no. Oh, Binary Recordings, but that's a job as well. So
that's all right.
Yeah.
Let's see. Last part for Storm Rider. YouTube channels you guys love to watch or favorite. Some other folks have asked about this too. So let's see. Some to recommend. I really enjoy Kellen's channel, Killing for Company. And it's really great to see Kellen back on the Album Club Wednesday night.
Hell yeah.
Hopefully he'll be doing more of his original content too. He always comes up with like very thoughtful topics and puts a lot of work into his videos.
Yep.
Always enjoy Melanie's content too. And it was good. She did a short post for folks. She's in the middle of moving. But she did a quick update. Her stuff's always fun to watch. Simon, always has crazy collection updates. All the Australian guys always have cool stuff. I like Merciful Metal. The stuff he finds is just batshit crazy cool. And again, I don't want to leave anybody out, but to keep it short, to also mention Jason over at Black Leather Eyes. He has a crazy deep collection and always has really fun themes when he does videos for things. You'll see stuff over there you just don't see much. I also, of course, have to mention Aaron over at the Metal Theologian. His record collection is a lot like mine, only like 10 times bigger and 10 times better. So always love seeing what Aaron's talking about. Marty, some channels you'd like to shout out there?
Well, they're in the chat. Mayhem Sunday folks, they're doing a fun little variety show over on Sundays. Part interview, part variety. They do a great job, and they're building steam over there. Obviously, all the metallurgists, you mentioned Simon, Rick, Logan, Kellen, Aaron, Melanie. There's a reason why they're over here, because we enjoy their content as well. So we are trying to steal their essence like the energy vampires that we are. But no, as far as non-metal channels, I would say I do like the Bad Friends podcast. I do watch some comedy podcasts, although I'm starting to burn out on them. They were really important, I think, during the COVID, but I don't know. Once they started doing the politics and chiming in on that crap, there's enough of that bullshit. I don't need to. People try to make me laugh. I don't want to hear their thoughts on that crap. And I watch a lot of bushcraft stuff, which is just so stupid because I am not an outdoors, go in the woods and try to dig for water with a stick type of guy. Oh, dude, chromium dioxide radio, 100%. Chromie's channel is unlike anything else on YouTube, and if you are not subscribed to Chromium Dioxide Radio, do it. God damn it, so good.
All right, so big thanks to Storm Rider. Always good to hear from you. A very, very long time supporter of the channel. All right, Marty, your turn to pull one up.
Paleontology question for Alan, for the professor. This is from Kinderfell off the Discord channel.
Okay.
What do you think about the recent study on Nanotyrannus, pretty much confirming its existence as a separate genus? Genus. What was your stance on it before this paper got published? And there's a question for both of us after that as well. We'll let you have the floor.
Well, put on my professorial glasses. No, that's a cool question. For some background for folks that are like, what the hell was that about? Nanotyrannus is a proposed genus of dinosaur, basically a miniature Tyrannosaurus rex, hence the name Nanotyrannus. So the original was found back in the 40s. It was on one thing you have to remember with almost all fossil finds, they're very partial. It's not like Jurassic Park where you get the entire skeleton like you see here. Like the original was, a partial skull. And it was, let's see, Bacher reassigned it to the name Nanotyrannus in 88. The problem is, since it's a small T-Rex, a lot of people were wondering, is it really just a small T-Rex? Does it really need its own unique genus and species name? It's a problem you run into in vertebrate paleontology a lot when you find an animal that looks kind of similar to a different one and is just a different size. Think of it this way. Let's say, you are looking at fossils, 10,000 years in the future. You find a couple of bones of a Great Dane and you find a couple of bones from a poodle. Would you intuitively know that those should go to the same exact species? They're very different sizes. There's a strong temptation to figure this has to be a completely different species than that one. But we know, with dogs, that wouldn't be the case. So that was the debate with Nanotyrannus for a while. It's is it a unique type of Tyrannosaurid, or is it just like a juvenile Tyrannosaurus?
Just a baby.
Yeah, that we found a teenager. And so that was where the debate was at. And the recent studies that Kinderfiend referenced was actually done by Lindsay Zano, who's up at NC State. One of my former students works with her currently, but I don't think he worked on this Nanotyrannus project. I think he was working on something else. And they've been able to look at some of the specimens in a lot more detail. If you can analyze them, especially microscopically, you can often tell the difference in bone growth patterns to say that this animal is done growing. It is full adult size. The bone tissue is not going to significantly grow beyond this point. Or you can look at bone tissue from juveniles and you can quickly see like, this little guy is still going through a growth spurt. So this is not a full-sized individual. They've looked at a lot of the specimens pretty intensively and come to the conclusion that, yeah, this really is its own type of mini tyrannosaur, which is really, really cool. I had leaned towards thinking it was a unique specimen based on what I knew previous to this. It seemed like there were enough other differences in things like the tooth structure and serration. There were differences that aren't things you typically would think an animal would grow out of. It's like, sure, they would get bigger, body proportions change and all that, but some of the things like with the Nanotyrannus teeth is like the way they're shaped and serrated in different patterns. I'm like, I don't think the juveniles would have that big a difference from the adults. So it made sense to me that it ended up, being a distinct genus, which is cool. And so, that would be my take on the Nanotyrannus. Thank you for the paleontology question. I tend to be a bit rusty on dinosaur paleo. It's not something I get to keep close tabs on anymore, just a little bit here and there. So fun to sort of dust off the Nanotyrannus knowledge. There we go. Let's talk paleontology, folks. And no, you can't have your super chats back. It's too late.
The other question from Kinderfell. Question for both Marty and Alan. Is there a non-metal band artist who you would like to do a discography deep dive on? If so, who would that be?
Oh, I have a quick answer for this one. The Cult. Ian Ashbury's sort of slightly rock, slightly psych, slightly post-punk, slightly all those things band.
Would that include the Death Cult as well?
You could go back into Southern Death Cult material for part of that. That would be fair. You could go into Billy Duffy's pre-cult project. The name escapes me. But there's a lot to talk about there. They've always been slightly metal adjacent the same way like AC/DC are. But I actually know exactly which two people I would tap to do a deep dive with about that too. And yes, one of them has been in the live chat tonight. You know who you are. You can identify yourself if you want to be identified as such. But the Cult is just one of those bands. They have their ups and downs in their catalog. It's not like it's a flawless catalog or anything. I've always liked Ian Ashbury's voice. Billy Duffy, can do some really cool guitar parts on some of the albums. I would do a Cult deep dive. What would you do, Marty?
Well, I've already done a Fields of the Nephilim deep dive with our friend Matt over at the Dark Path years ago, so that cancels that. I've already done a deep dive on Skinny Puppy over at Jeff's channel, so that, I think, was it Jeff's channel? Did we do Skinny Puppy?
You did Skinny Puppy with Matt.
I did that with Matt too.
Yeah, but now maybe, I don't know if Jeff did it.
Oh, Jeff, we did Voivod. We did Voivod over on Jeff's. Anyway, non-metal. I think Susie and the Banshees would be a fun one. That would be interesting. Extensive. Definitely different styles to navigate there. GBH be another fun one. More punk, but they do have some metal crossovers they went. I don't know. Cocteau Twins. That's a good one, Peter. Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah. Oh, The Cure. The Cure would be a long slog, but that would be a good one too.
That would be a fun one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know most of the Cure's catalog too. I had a friend who was very into them a long time ago.
I have one of those too.
He kept loaning me albums, and I kept listening to them and dubbing them and stuff. So,
Fish Cult is a good one too. Dead Can Dance would be an interesting one to do. Most of that shit's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Fun question.
Fun question. Thank you, Kinderfell.
All right, so let's see. I gotta find my next one here. Next one, I believe, is from. Some guy named Warhammer 666. What kind of name is that?
But he likes to party.
Sounds like it. And it says Aussie Black AUSBM Autism Black Metal. That's not right.
What's the best kind?
Australian Black Metal.
Oh,
my bad.
Okay.
Haley, let's see. It's a fun question. What would you change about heavy metal if you could just wave a black magic wand and make it happen?
Heavy metallurgy, or was it heavy metal?
Heavy metal.
Oh, okay.
The whole heavy metal, yeah, in all the heavy metal underground universe, what would you change if you could just, Thanos it into existence? Or out of existence, I guess would be more appropriate. There's Thanos jokes.
Hmm.
I have a thought if you want a moment to ponder.
Yeah, I need a moment.
That's fair. I think something I would like to see change with heavy metal. And again, lots of people do this already, but a lot of folks don't. I would like to see, a larger number of heavy metal fans check out newer underground bands. I feel like, many people tend to stick to, the same acts they've known and loved for ages, which of course makes perfect sense and is cool. But I feel like a lot of people aren't willing to give newer bands a whole lot of time or chances. And there are so many good bands out there that deserve some attention and recognition, and that I think fans would really, really enjoy if they checked them out and be like, oh, wow, I had no idea, this band was out there. Because you hear all the time from people like, oh, there's not much coming out in heavy metal. Oh, heavy metal's dead. Oh, I didn't, there's not many albums this year that are very good. There really are, if you take the time to dig around and listen to some different things. But a lot of people don't. And I get it. Everyone's limited on time and resources and stuff. I'm not saying you have to go out and buy all this stuff, but even just checking out different things on free platforms or platforms like Spotify where you have a subscription. Marty and I see it, with album reviews. If we review the new Immolation, 1,000 people will watch it. We review something like, I don't know.
Just about anything else. Yeah,
the new Greyhawk album.
Yeah.
Even maybe 300 people will watch it. And I think a lot of people would enjoy the Greyhawk album, but folks just don't tend to necessarily check out as many newer, smaller bands. I would like to see folks shift that mentality and be like, sure, you can still like the older bands, you can still play them plenty, but those bands get a lot of attention, a lot of respect, a lot of love, a lot of sales, all that stuff. Anyway, I'd like to see folks throw more support towards some of these smaller emergent acts, because there's a lot of them that are really, really excellent, but I feel like a lot of them get buried, and after an album or two they just disappear into the woodwork. And I think part of it is they just can't ever get any attention. I mean, at some point you do have to get some kind of positive feedback to keep going with it. So that would be my answer here. I would wave the wand and have everybody spend X hours a month checking out bands they've never checked out before. You'd find some you really liked. I promise.
For me, I think I do like the fact that heavy metal is kind of outsider culture, but I would change the fact that I would like people to understand the community behind it. My son and I went and seen the new Iron Maiden movie last night, Burning Ambition. And, there wasn't a ton of people in there, and they're mostly old people in Iron Maiden shirts. But, Ed was there. Ed from Ed's Den of Metal. Cheers, Ed. Good seeing you last night. Total surprise. That was cool. But, the person I was sitting next to just randomly started talking to me like we've been friends for, years. And, going in, my kid walked up to an old guy in a Maiden shirt, and he's like, so what movie are you going to see? And just, this instant camaraderie between metalheads, Iron Maiden fans in this particular situation. And, maybe it is this way in the country music world, but that music is such fucking wallpaper. And the people that like it are like, oh, I just like whatever's on the radio. Well, you're missing out on, walking into a room and thinking you already have something in common with somebody, I think that metal is so outside of the, popular culture that the people that are into it really kind of, in a way, understand each other right off the bat. We dress the same, our cult-like attire, and but yeah, I just think a little bit of understanding instead of, people seeing tattoos or long hair or whatnot. It maybe a bit of fear. in a way that's cool, but on the same token, there's a lot of sensitivity in it as well. So that's maybe not a cool metal rock and roll answer, but it's just cool going into a place of strangers and feeling like you're not a stranger. You know what I mean?
You've got something in common right away.
Yeah.
Oh, well said. Yep. And cheers to Ken. Good to see you in the chat there. Hope
you had a question too. When do we get to Ken's question? Where I tagged it.
I don't know. I don't think it's on.
Well. The first time I've logged on to YouTube in a bit, and this comes up on my feed. My question: what's been the highlight of your year so far? I hope you're both doing well.
Well, hope you're doing well too, Ken.
You too, brother. I got one thing. The highlight of my year thus far is 2 weeks ago. I took my kid up in the middle of the woods in 2-track roads, parked it, walked out, said, "Get in the driver's seat." And it was his first time driving a car around he's not old. He's old enough to have his permit, but he hasn't done it yet. So it was just a very surreal, cats in their cradle in a silver spoon moment. And just, driving around the woods with my kid, it was a pretty surreal. So that's been the highlight of my very non-metal answer, but it's truth. How about you, Ellen?
Nice. Let's see. A good one for me. This is more work related, actually. And sometimes, we all gripe about work, and work can be stressful. But a good thing is, we had a pretty big senior class this year in my department, and I work with every senior that comes to our department. In terms of getting them, ready to do all their final projects, and then also prepping them, for job applications and interviews and all that kind of stuff. And we had, everyone showed up for graduation today. It was really cool seeing a very big class. All of them got to get their diplomas. And they all did, excellent work all year. It's, it's been one of the strongest senior classes that I've worked with. So getting to work with, a large group, a really, really sort of energized group that did some really impressive work and are going on to some really impressive opportunities. That was really cool seeing them all today. It's like they're all leaving the nest.
Yep.
Damn.
Yep.
But no, really, really proud of that group of seniors. So not that they watch this stuff or anything, but a big congratulations to them on their recent graduation. And best of luck. They're going to do really, really well.
All right, my turn to
metal!
read. Not a metal answer, but you got a couple old guys here that have kids, so you get a personal answer.
That's quite all right. I'm sure Ken was okay with that.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Next up, we have a question from ZPHYTRQW. Sorry,
rolls off the tongue.
Yeah, sure for something. Sorry. But let's see. Would enjoy quick discussion on listening to music with others versus by yourself. I find it so much better sharing the music with others, and I find it tough when I don't have buddies around to do that with. So listening on your own versus listening with other people. Marty, you want this one first, or you want me to jump in?
You know what? I enjoy both ways. I find I am so absolutely destroyed by my short attention span and falling into the algorithm of doom scrolling. Even when I'm listening to music, what I really need to do is throw my phone in the trash and go back to just staring at the album spinning on the turntable and absorbing it. I find myself very distracted by technology, and I'm aware of it, and I realize I'm doing it and put it away. But we had a metal night here a month ago, and it was cool getting all the guys around and listening to music again. That's where people can peruse your collection, and my turn to pick and go and pick, and it makes it the community aspect of metal is definitely a lot of fun. And it used to be even way more fun when I was drinking, but that's, I don't do that anymore. So it's changed a little bit in that dynamic, but still it's a lot of fun jamming on. Oh, and then TJ came over a weekend or two ago to help me with some amp stuff, and we sat around listening to Kiss records, and it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun, just hanging out with a buddy and listening to nostalgic shit we used to listen to when we were kids. So yeah, I'm completely down with both, but I think the community aspect, there's a lot of it's a lot of worth in that.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Before I give my answer, I do just want to take a quick moment and say thank you. We've got like 124 people watching live.
Cheers, everyone.
Cool. Marty and I honestly didn't know if people would give a crap about this particular topic idea or not. It's like we honestly were talking like, we might be done by like 10:30 tonight. Yeah. Nobody asks questions or shows up. So the fact that so many people have tuned in and sent in questions ahead of time, that is really cool. Thank you all very much for that. My answer for this is, to be honest, I have rarely had situations where I could listen to metal with other people.
You need to move. Pack up the farm.
I've tended to live in non-metal community areas. So, yeah, the idea of like having a bunch of friends over who would want to listen to heavy metal, kind of an alien concept for me. So most of my listening very much is solo listening. I will say, yes, it is very fun to share music that you're excited about. That's one reason I enjoy doing YouTube videos. It's a big part of why I started a channel was just watching other channels, and some questions tie into this, so I won't dwell on this, but just the idea of like, there's a lot of stuff I listen to that really isn't talked about on these channels very much. And hey, I could give some of these other lesser known bands their 15 minutes of fame. Not a lot of people are going to care, but that's okay. A few people might check them out and like them. And so yeah, the motivation of just getting to share, some of the music I enjoyed with other people was a big part of that. So I definitely get it from that angle. But yeah, I've just never have lived in areas where there's been lots of other, metal loving buddies to hang out and spin albums with.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry. That sucks.
It's all right. All right, Marty, your turn for next question.
All right. This is from Lady Metal from the Discord server. Question.
She's in the live chat earlier.
Throughout the years, metal has come more and more open, understanding, and welcoming to women. From the growth in women at shows, singular musicians, to whole bands being comprised of women. Which female metal musician is your favorite, and which female musician do you feel has had the largest impact in this growth in the scene?
Okay.
You really can't deny what bands like Nervosa and stuff like that are doing, and they rip. They're really good. They shred, and and let's be honest, I don't know if whether you're male or female or other, if you're coming in there and there isn't a lot of people doing anything that's moving the ball forward. They're just kind of being an influence to their idols, or they're playing what their idols played. They're wearing their influences on their sleeve. I think the fact that, women even stepping up and making bands or joining bands, that alone is moving the ball forward. I think that is a sign of awesome progression to invade the sausage party, the 90% dudes. It's refreshing. You get different, perspective, and it's great. As far as influence, you can look back to bands like Mythic, Dana Crosby. Is that her name? Yeah, she went on, did Demonic Christ. Cheers, Ed. Thank you so much for the super chat, man. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Ed.
Though they didn't do a whole lot moving beyond, just the fact that she was, a front woman in, the black metal world, pretty cool. Then bands, this is just sitting here, oddly enough, Astarte, I want to say that's how, or Astarta, Doom Dark Years. This is a Greek black metal band, all women. This shit's great. Is it breaking any ground? No, other than the fact that, they're women doing it. That alone, if that inspires other women to get out and pick up instruments or get out there and join bands, think that's fucking sweet. So what do you think, Alan?
Yeah. I think, one of the sort of default easy answers, of course, is Doro.
Holder's another one. Yep.
But Doro, was doing it, 20 years before, not just before it was cool, but before any other women were doing it. You go back that far in the scene, and it was really, really few and far between. So definitely one there.
Thanks, North of the Rockies. Dana Duffy. I had Don Crosby in my head, and yeah, was not. I meant Dana Duffy. Sorry, go ahead,
No
Alan.
problem. Oh, and thank you, Lady Mars.
Thank you, Lady
for
Metal.
that. Good question. I think Living Dead Wax just mentioned it, and it was one I had thought of earlier. And it's, well, Doro's an obvious one. This one's less obvious, but I think it is very important. Tarja Turonen from Nightwish. Not because necessarily, like, she's like, the greatest, metal front lady of all time or anything, but Nightwish was the band, and her voice being kind of the centerpiece of that band, that really it created an extra subgenre that pretty much necessitated, is like, you will have female members in your band if you're going to play this style. So it wasn't just a matter of like, oh, yes, we happen to have, a female singer or something. It's like, no. You're going to build bands around a woman or multiple women now. And it was an extremely popular. It's not like it was like a, random band that did one or two things and disappeared. It has become, a very, very popular subgenre of heavy metal. It's not one we talk about a lot here. It tends to be a little bit, on the outside in terms of, heaviness for a lot of folks. But yeah, Tarja sort of opening up a sector of heavy metal that basically said, yes, women are essential to making this style even work in the first place. That, I think, you start seeing more women enter the scene rapidly after Nightwish. And again, there were other bands besides Nightwish doing that style around the same time.
Annika from The Gathering.
Annika, was kind of a forebearer to that. But yeah, I mean, you quickly had your Visions of Atlantis type bands follow in the wake of Nightwish. The Epica with Simone Simmons. So many bands all of a sudden had it wasn't just a oh hey, yeah, we happen to have a female member. So it's like, we have a female member and she's the star of the show. She's the reason you're going to come check out this band, not just because of appearances or anything aesthetic like that, but because you're coming to hear this person sing. So I think Tarja and Nightwish get some credit there too.
And really, you look, not too far out from metal. You look at punk. There's a lot of women in punk singers, and then you look at
Williams would be huge for that.
Joe Bench, bass player from Bolt Thrower. She was early on, and she came up in the punk scene. Yeah, the crust punk scene. Cam from Sacrilege. Was that her name? Tam, not Cam.
Tam from Sam. Yeah.
I mean, she was putting out stuff in the long time ago, and when there was hardly any women in metal, of course, in Hellion, you had Anne Boleyn doing Hellion and Betsy Bitch.
Yep.
I mean, there's been some, but it's now starting to be more and more, which I think is pretty sick.
It's cool. It's if it isn't at this point yet, it's rapidly approaching the point where no one anymore would say like, oh, it's a novelty thing. It's just like, no, it's just a thing, which is nice to see.
Good question.
Yep. All right, we've got a two-part. Well, one question for you and one question for me. These come from Glenn Diesel, longtime viewer. Cheers to Glenn. Let's see. First to Marty. Did you ever think when you started your YouTube channel that you would be where you are today with your channel?
No. No. I mean, where are we? I mean, we're here, which is cool. But no, I still remember sitting over on the other side of this office, my little stack of music, and turning on the phone and turn it off like 5 times. Like, what the fuck am I doing? Why am I doing this? This is so dumb. This is dumb. Why am I doing this? No one's going to give two shits. I hated my picture taken at Christmas. You name it. As TJ says, no flash photography. Well, here I am doing it. But you know what? As soon as you start getting a few comments and people start, responding to your channel a little bit, you start to realize that a lot of people out there are a lot like you. And, you can start sharing your, conversation about music with the world, essentially. I mean, shit, we've met people all over the world doing this, which is absolutely mind-blowing. And, just the metallurgists that join us from other channels, man, good friends. I would love to hang out with these people on a regular basis other than, our video stuff that we do. Well, the Wednesday night album club for one every week. And what a community, both people that watch and the people that participate with us. Holy shit. It's enriched my life a lot. I think it's sick. What do you think, Alan?
Well, that question was for you.
Oh, you can answer the same question. I mean,
no, he's got a second question I have to answer that you don't get to answer.
All right, fine.
Stay on my question, man. Let's see. Before I read
dinosaur bones overrated.
Hey, man, we can talk about Contreras a lot longer if you want. I can go there.
I'm down.
But let's see. Glenn also does say before I read the question from me, he says, thank you for both your channels. It's been awesome to see both of your channels grow, and cheers. Thank you, Glenn.
Thank you, man.
Let's see. Then the second question for Professor Steele. Alan, what is one of your most memorable concerts you've ever been to? There's been a few, and one very memorable one for me was getting to go see Misfits right after they had reunited in the mid-90s, and saw them in St. Andrews Hall in Detroit, which is not a great venue. And
which one was it?
St. Andrews Hall. They got moved to St. Andrews kind of last minute. It was originally supposed to be
TJ was just there and said the area was really nice and that he loved the venue. I remember I was there when it wasn't such a great place.
In 96, it was not yet gentrified. No.
Yeah.
And I mean, Detroit was, really ground zero for, Misfits fandom. So the crowd was beyond electric in terms of getting to see, Jerry and Doyle come back playing for the first time, in over a decade. And yeah, I mean, it was a very, very rough show. The folks I went with, were from Detroit. I mean, they knew the area. They're like, look, just don't say anything. Don't look at anybody. Don't touch anything, and you might get out of here without being the shit beat out of you.
Look down at your feet the whole time.
Yeah, I'm just like, okay. They're fine. Yeah, they literally like, you can't talk. I'm like, why can't I talk? It's like, because you still have a Southern accent, and if anybody hears it, they're gonna be like, redneck, and they're gonna beat the shit out of you. Like, okay, duly warned. As soon as we got there, all of them got waved through security. I did, and I got stopped. So by the time I got through the door,
full cavity search.
Idea where they were at. They had turned and immediately gone up like into the balcony because they wanted no part of the floor. They didn't tell me this, so I'm looking all over the fucking floor for them when the show starts. So yeah, right in the middle of it with Jerry and Doyle and the guys coming out, kicking the lids off the coffins, launching straight into Halloween. And I don't know what the capacity for the place was, but whatever it was, just jam-packed elbow to elbow. They burned through like 8 songs in a row before they ever stopped and said a word to the audience. And I mean, the whole floor was just a pit. It wasn't like, here's the pit, and you stand over here and you say, it's just like, everybody is hitting everybody.
So the balcony was the only safe place in that place.
The balcony was the only safe. Well, you had people stage diving out of the balcony. Into the crowd below. So it's just like, okay, you wanted to stay kind of in the middle of the floor to stay away from the balconies, but also if you're in the middle of the floor, you are completely stuck in the middle of the pit. Yeah, me and some little redneck looking guy, I had no idea was, we're just, basically back to back. And if anyone came close enough to us to get hit with an elbow, they got hit with an elbow. We never said a word to each other. It was just an understanding, back to back. I smack anything that comes close to me. You nail anything that comes close to you. And that's how we do this. Yeah, crazy show, great show, loved it to death. Found my friends hours later. There's like, holy shit. And they were like genuinely surprised, like, holy shit, you're in one piece. We thought we were going to find you like in the fucking alley out back. I'm like, I'm fine. Where you guys been? Like up there. I'm like, where have you been? Like down here. They're just like, I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, I got to see a bouncer choke slam a guy trying to spin kick people that night. The dude tried spin kicking the bouncer. The bouncer like ducked. And as he came up, just shot his hand forward, grabbed the guy and lifted him by the throat and choke slammed him onto the concrete until 3 other bouncers showed up. Each of them picked up an arm and a leg and literally did like the whole 1, 2, 3 and launched him out the front doors of St. Andrews Hall straight into the street. It was that kind of night. So that would be my most memorable concert, Glenn.
All right.
Back to you, Marty.
Well, Mike Villain... from Discord, he's got a 3-parter here. Question for Marty. As things stand today, are you satisfied with Heavy Metallurgy's strategy of controlled growth? Does the project overall meet your expectations, or do you sometimes find yourself wishing for the big one that suddenly sends everything through the roof? I'm not going to lie. That would be cool. First of all, controlled growth, I think that's the way to go. I mean, if we grew too fast or grew the wrong way, you would have a bunch of people in the chat every week that are causing problems, having to be banned. That is not what we want for this community, because we have grown slowly, but man, what a crowd. Granted, there are little things I do trying here and there to get more people to come check out what we're doing. There's no controlling it one way or the other. I've tried looking at, ways to trick the algorithm, or, appeal to the algorithm, or, take the algorithm out for a date and maybe get a little extra favor with views. But no, never happens, which is fine. And I'm happy. I mean, we've got a bunch of subs and we do pretty good with views. So that's definitely cool. But I don't want to compromise ever the community we've got growing here. It's got to be, I'd prefer this to grow slowly and with control. It's definitely better for everybody watching and us as well. Question for Marty. It's no secret the Heavy Metallurgy community is repeatedly praised by members, staff, and outside visitors alike for its exceptionally positive atmosphere, social inclusivity, and international diversity. Does that make you proud, especially considering that such an environment is anything but a given in today's generally tense, aggressive, and politically heated times? Absolutely. I mean, I'll stand on every hill and say that we have the best community on the internet. We do. And it's great. This is a place people can come where they don't have to listen to the politics or the this or that or the outside stuff. We're here just for metal. And
where everybody knows your name.
Yeah. And no, completely 1,000. If we've done anything here, we've gotten a whole bunch of awesome people together, and that I am completely. If it never got another person to watch, I'm psyched where we're at. What do you think, Alan? That's one you should chime in on too.
No, it's a good question, and I would agree with your points. Sure, it's always nice, to have the daydream thing of we're 100,000 subscribers, and every video is getting 50,000 views in the first 24 hours.
That'd be amazing.
It would be amazing, but in reality, you're exactly right. It would come with a lot of drawbacks in terms of constantly dealing with the kind of traffic that just causes headaches. So and someone just made the comment in the live chat, quality over quantity. I tend to be a big believer in that philosophy. So I'm absolutely happy with the way it's kind of grown slow and steady. Absolutely.
And let's be honest, a lot of the channels that you see that grow super fast, their main calling card is negativity. And we're not about that. I just don't want to put that out, not only on YouTube, but in the universe. I have a tendency to be a glass half empty kind of guy as it is. I don't need to perpetuate that into the void. That's for sure. Question.
My beer's half empty. This is a good one on screen that kind of ties into it.
Oh yeah.
That just got posted. So let's go with that one.
Have you guys considered a Patreon? Would definitely support. YouTube commercials are brutal. I don't know. With Patreon, I don't get it. I subscribe to a few Patreon channels, but I do it, like Ben. I support Ben's channel since the moment he started doing it. I forget to watch his stuff because it's a different format than YouTube. I think I have it on my phone, and I don't watch a lot of stuff on my phone. So, I don't know how to use it. And then you'd have to make extra content just for the Patreon people. And, we're already busy trying to put stuff up here, but, I don't know. Yeah. Simon, you're going to have to get with us and talk to us about the benefits of it. Because it's money isn't going to be a good enough, just people watching this I'm happy about this. What do you think about this, Alan? I don't know. I would need some convincing, I guess.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Patreon, I kind of understand how it works. I don't, the one that Simon mentions, the channel membership. I'm not too familiar with that, although I've seen a few people doing it. I think, from my point of view, it feels just a little weird to ask people for money in that format. My upbringing is like rural Appalachia, and you definitely help people in those communities, but you don't go around asking for handouts. That is not looked upon well whatsoever. You are expected to be more self-sufficient. And if you can't, people in the community may choose to support you, but you don't go around like asking for support. And Patreon feels a little bit like that. I have no problem if people are doing it. This is not a criticism for those who use it whatsoever. But it would feel a little weird to me to be like, hey, folks, go throw us a few dollars on, Patreon, and then, do this recurring thing. It's one reason I like the super chat kind of thing. It's there if people want to do it, they absolutely can. And a lot of folks have tonight. It's, very much appreciated, very generous of y'all. But it's, again, even that, we don't highlight that. We're not mentioning it at every 15 minutes. There's not a link to try to steer you towards it. If we were to do it, yes, I would very much feel obligated to put, some kind of content into that to make it, worth people's doing. And then that's more, stuff you've got to generate, and time is an issue. As far as the commercials go, yes, I know some folks, the episodes do get chopped up with commercials. Something to consider instead of just the Patreon approach for that would be, you can do YouTube Premium. It's not particularly expensive, and then all your videos are ad free. You don't.
It's worth every freaking penny. Ever since I
Marty
switched,
does it. Yeah, Marty does it. I don't, but yeah, Marty is raved about it. How much is it monthly, Marty?
I don't know, and I don't care. It could be $100 a month. I don't fucking care.
Maybe not the way to sell it. It was $9.99 a month. It may have gone up a little bit.
I think it just went up, but like I said, I've got all the streaming services, and the only thing I watch 99% of the time is shit on YouTube. And I agree. The ads were killing me until, our friend Zoller is like, dude, I pay for the premium. I'm like, what? I don't even know what that is. Looked it up. I ordered it right away, and all of the ads are gone. So,
so that is if a way you could avoid the ads, not just on Metallurgy, but on all stuff. And more cheaply than doing Patreon support for X number of channels that you tend to follow.
Yeah.
So,
and again,
maybe we look into it someday. I'm not saying we never would, but I just don't know how we feel about asking for money on a regular basis that way. But again, there's no problem with those who do. I also support a couple of channels on Patreon, and I'm happy to do so.
Yeah, there's a few I support, and We'll see. We'll see. I'm just worried about us, putting the best content we can on here, having to worry about two different formats, and it seems like it'd be a distraction. Thanks, Miss A. And again, we appreciate the shit out of you folks sending super chats. I feel bad about it, but on the same token, thank you so much. It's very kind. It all goes back into the channel. So, me and Alan do get together once a month and have money fights in his driveway with all the money we're pulling in. But,
make it rain.
Yeah, make it rain. Do the dance.
Maybe drizzle.
Yeah, drizzle. Yeah. But, you're all of the best. Thank you so much.
Yeah. But important. And just to be, again, for no transparency, because we don't talk about behind the scenes stuff much, but, stuff like, the super chats is why we can pay other folks to do album reviews. It's why we could pay Jimmy to review Panopticon this week, and pay Sue when she's done interviews with different folks for us. So that money isn't just all going to our blackjack and hookers account. It does get cycled back into the channel. StreamYard fees have gone up. That's got to be paid each month.
Yep.
But yeah, Marty's very conscientious about paying folks who are contributing content to Heavy Metallurgy. We're not asking or expecting folks to do it without compensation. Oh, yeah. So when you're giving super chat, we're not just taking it to run to the record store tomorrow. We're thinking like, hey, Kellen, anything you want to review for us? We'll hit you up with a few bucks, if there's something you'd like to review that fits our channel better than your own channel, for example.
Well, thanks, Miss A. All right. Good questions, Mike. Thank you. You're up.
Indeed. All right, let's see. This one is from Bart Dariosart. Says, hi, gentlemen. Some questions for you. Alan, do you play any musical instruments? I played trombone for several years in school. That is it. I do not have musical talent. Then for both of you, what are your musical journeys getting into metal? And lastly, without trying to be a total fanboy, will there be more streams with Austin in the future? Funnily enough, we were originally planning to have Austin on tonight, but he was indisposed.
He had dad stuff to deal with.
He had family commitments. Yep. So no, we actually have a couple of shows that we would like Austin to participate in the near future. So yep, there will be more Lun on the horizon. But then backing up to this other part of the question, your journey getting into metal, Marty. What brought you to such a lowly state?
Seeing Kiss on the TV at 7 or 8 years old. At that point, music was in my house. My dad, mom were very much into country. I grew up with, I also grew up with ABBA, Mac Davis, Neil Diamond. Neil Diamond rages, man. Total killer. And then I saw Kiss on the TV, and that was it. My dad said, little bastard, you wouldn't quit talking about him, so we had to get you a record. And that they were the first band. They united rock music with visuals, and it was a perfect storm for a young lad, and made me appreciate music. Say what you want about Kiss. They were the first band to get me going into the musical realm. So, and from there, it just gets heavier and heavier and heavier and heavier. And before you know it, you're, listening to shit that only a small percentage of people on the planet listen to. What about you, Alan?
Let's see. Well, I'm several years younger than Marty. So yeah, Kiss was not my generation. My journey into metal, I came in through the glam metal route of the 1980s, and specifically the late 80s, glam metal route. I was too young for, Twisted Sister, Quiet Riot, and that kind of stuff in its heyday. So yeah, it was more, for example, friends started noticing Def Leppard around Hysteria. Guns N' Roses' Appetite for Destruction was one of the first albums where we were a little young for that, but we were also old enough to notice it. Some kids were listening to it, some weren't. But yeah, I came in through that route, just seeing stuff on MTV in particular, bands being featured on that, hearing a little bit here and there on the radio. Oddly enough, though, the first metal album I bought wasn't in that style. The first ever bona fide heavy metal album I bought was a bootleg cassette tape of And Justice for All. Friends, were getting into Metallica because that was 88. So, I had friends, who were getting into Metallica by that point. I was curious about it. I went to record stores a lot with my dad because he's a record collector. I'd seen the And Justice posters up in the record stores. It was a cool image. And it found it at a flea market. Some guy was selling bootleg cassette tapes for $5 a piece. And figured, you know what? I'm going to check them out myself and see what it's like. Take it home, play the cassette tape, and it's like, oh man, this bootleg tape sounds like shit. I knew I shouldn't have bought that. Damn it. Having no idea that's actually what the album is supposed to sound like. I just assumed it was bootleg sound quality. I didn't know metal bands intentionally left their bass tracks off of albums. But from there, it was kind of a combination. I was still listening, to glam stuff early on, dealing with some of that, but also then following up with more Metallica. Overkill was a very early discovery on the heavy side. And it just became something that clicked with me really fast. There were enough other kids, friends listening to it at high school. So there was, somebody would, get, an Annihilator album and bring it to the parking lot, and we'd all be blown away and share copies of it. Somebody had, would have a Black Sabbath album, and stuff like that. I was the first one in high school to bring Napalm Death into the group. because I found one of their tapes, in the sale bin at Record Bar when I was at the big city. So that was my inroad. Glam metal definitely sort of eased in, but there was, pretty quickly also, kind of a thrash metal appreciation got developed too.
I wish I knew how to spell. There we go. All right.
So it's my turn or your turn for a question? Whose was that?
I think it's mine.
I think I just read that one. Yep.
All right.
Sorry. Bart also said, thank you for introducing me to a ton of new bands. You're very welcome. That's cool that you got to check out some new stuff.
One of the reasons why we're here. I'm glad it works sometimes.
Indeed. Yep. Oh, and this isn't a question, but William TN731 said, love the idea for the show. So yeah, glad folks are enjoying it.
Cool. This one's from Devin over at Maze of Torment. Another channel you folks should check out. Devin's been slogging away at it for years, and since the pandemic anyway, maybe a little bit before that. I don't know. Doing a great job, man. Have you ever done a stream and felt like it wasn't going very well, and after you were finished, you felt like it was a lackluster episode for whatever reason? There's been some times, especially when this is personal share time, I guess, after I quit drinking, there was a couple weeks, maybe a month, where I felt like I wasn't doing well. There was a transitional period during that. It seemed like drinking while doing this eased off my ADHD just enough where I could focus better, and I just felt like I was struggling focusing. But that wasn't a guess. That was me. But Alan told me it was all okay. But
you were doing fine. But yes, you were very self-conscious about it for a month or two there.
But I don't really recall anything that afterwards I was like, ooh, I don't know. That wasn't great. I don't know. What do you think, Alan?
Yeah, I don't really think we have had one. I've had a couple of episodes on my own channel where, watching them back, like, yeah, okay, I was too tired or too rushed trying to put that one together. I should have taken some time, redone it, waited until the next day. But no, again, I think we've been very fortunate in terms of episodes and streams going really, really well.
Yeah, very fortunate in that department. Cool. Thanks for your question. And Devin, everybody go check out Maze of Torment. Please go over and subscribe to Devin. He shows a lot of killer shit. For a young dude, he's got his finger on the pulse of some cool shit. So definitely go check it out.
Devin's been at it for a long time, and really good guy.
Yeah,
great collection.
Yeah,
tons of killer stuff I don't have or know about. He's into it quite deep. Let's see. Give me 1 second here. I'm trying to look up something related to this question. Marty, go and do one more if you would, please. I need to look up something for this question.
Sure. From Joe Bag of Donuts. Question for Alan and Marty. If you had the opportunity to go back in time and see a band in their prime that you missed out on seeing, who would you pick? And more than one answer is welcome.
That's a fun question.
Do you need a minute? I can go right away.
Go ahead. Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Kiss in the 70s. I would have loved to have. I've never seen Kiss. I've seen Kiss tribute band. They were amazing. I was drunk. But Kiss in the 70s, I would love to have seen Minor Threat back in the day. I would have loved to have seen Skinny Puppy. There was multiple times I could have went with friends down to see Skinny Puppy and ended up having to work. These friends were not very communicative about, there's a show tomorrow we're driving to. They're calling, yeah, we're getting ready to leave right now. Do you want to go? I'm at work. So there's been numerous, it was during the Too Dark Park era too. I totally missed out on seeing Skinny Puppy, but there's three right off the bat. How about you, Alan?
Let's see. One would be Sabotage in the late 80s, Hall of the Mountain King era. I've heard several live recordings from that era of the band, and they have every one of those live shows is just crazy good. This is when John just partying a lot, totally maniacal on stage. Chris just a demon on guitar. Those shows always sound so dark and so intense. That would have been a really, really cool to see them in their prime. Seeing something, of course, like, Priest in kind of like the very early days of, the motorcycle, when it was kind of, still a new mind blowing thing with the motorcycle and the metal god image, coming into shape would be pretty cool.
That would have been cool. Yeah.
Yep. Seeing Black Sabbath in like the earlier mid 70s before, back like when they did all the colorful costumes and stuff, when it wasn't all just, dark clothes and dark sets, would be kind of neat. You watch some of those old shows, and I mean, they're extremely good, of course, but just, that very different visual presentation for Sabbath would be cool. Seeing Mark II Deep Purple, like, with kind of at the height of their powers, with like Ian Gillan doing something like Child in Time live, and Blackmore doing like the extended solo live, that would be pretty badass. So there's a few off the top of my head.
Right on. And I don't know if it was shown, but Scott, thank you so much for the super chat. The only thing holding you guys back from bajillions of dollars is Marty's unwillingness to accept the grandeur of Corner's grin. You are mistaken, my friend. Gravely mistaken. I will take nothing over Billings if that record sucks, man. It's crap. I'm sorry. But if you like it, right on. Don't want to yuck your yum. All right. Good. Alan, what you got?
All right. Next up, let's see. Miss Answery had a 2-part question, but the parts got separated. That's why I needed a moment here. So part 1 is, can you each name 3 songs from any band in any genre that you remember elicited a very deep emotional response?
Oh my God.
It doesn't say what kind of emotional response it has to be. Just that, a deep emotional response. 3 songs.
Yep. I can never remember the name of it. Hold on one second.
That's what I need. I also needed to check that for one of the song titles. Yep.
Oh, crap. Where is it?
Do you want me to go while you look yours up?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yep. Okay. Let's see. One for me would be The Cure with the song Cold off of Pornography.
Oh, yeah.
That is a dark, depressed, I mean, like, seriously messes with your mind kind of album in the first place. But Cold, I think, is where that album just hits its nadir in terms of emotional distraught. Yeah, in particular, the line that always stood out to me in the middle of that song is, ice in my eyes and eyes like ice don't move. It's just like, oh, damn, I need a hug. It's fucking dark, man. Which is something I like about that era of The Cure quite a bit. Long before, we were in love with Friday, Robert Smith was a dark, dark person. So that would be a big one. Fate's Warning, Awaken the Guardian. We were talking about it in the live chat earlier tonight, with Daryl. That song is absolutely timeless and priceless. It is beautiful. It is a moment of true beauty in a genre that isn't necessarily renowned for producing beautiful things. Great things, fun things, powerful things, dark things. But that song is beautiful. That song can move me to tears. And a third one, I was trying to think of something that would be like a completely different, deep emotional response. Would be, I could pick any number of songs from them. Which song? Well, no, let's just go with one of those. Misfits, I Turned Into a Martian. That song will cheer me up and get me re-energized. It's like 1 minute and 44 seconds, and that's all it takes if I need to, very rapidly get psyched up for something. I Turned Into a Martian. Misfits, deep emotional reaction on the positive scale, not the sad boy dark scale or the boohoo I need a tissue scale. So there you go, Miss A. 3. There's my 3. Now Marty's got a chance to do his.
I don't know about 3, but 2. They're both make me cry songs. One of them is "And There Will Your Heart Be Also" by Fields of the Nephilim. It's the last song off Elysium.
Good pick.
Oh my God, the way those last two songs flow together. There's like a key change and just a whole depressive mood changes. And if I'm in the right state of mind, it gets me every single time. And that band, like no other, are definitely it. Another one, tears every time is the song Travel, the last song off of disc 1 of How to Measure a Planet by The Gathering.
Huh.
It's a song about a composer. There's just a beauty and sadness to it, and the message behind it is beautiful. It's an amazingly well-written song. Gets me teary-eyed every time. A third song. You know what? We're going to go back to Keeper of the Seven Keys 2. The day I bought that album on cassette, I picked it up at Camelot Music, walked through Prangies, which was a clothing store, to get to my vehicle where it was parked, threw it in the tape player. As soon as I started up the vehicle and the opening notes of Eagle Fly Free start up, every hair on the back of my neck stood up, and I just could not believe how electrified and amazing that song was. So yeah, that was just one of those songs that made me excited to be a metalhead and listen to music with that much energy and color to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, nice pick.
So there's 3.
All right, and let's see. The second half of her question was, and second question, how much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
She was the second person that asked that question.
Very, very funny. But I actually know the answer to this because this was worked out by a biometrics professor at Oregon State. They published it several years ago. If you take the average size of a fully adult eastern woodchuck, not the western subspecies, has to be the eastern one because there is a difference in morphology here.
Of course.
Average adult weight, and you look at their metabolic caloric intake divided by their metabolic rate, what they can process based on the size of their mouth and the length of their incisors. The answer is 0.323 cubic meters per week. There you go.
There you go.
Science. Being all funny. Science will teach you to be funny. 0.323 cubic meters per week.
Oh, let's see. My turn?
Your turn.
Here's a quick funny one. For Alan, does he still love Chameleon? From Apex Predator. It's a good misunderstood album.
One of those 2 adjectives is correct. Wait, no, actually neither is. Come to think of it.
All right, here's one from...
One question, Apex, but no.
Yep.
Yeah, it's down there.
Frosty Darrell. If you each could have dinner with any 5 people in the world of metal, alive or dead, who would they be? You know what? I would have dinner with Frosty Darrell. That would be a fun dinner. Good conversation, good hang. Lemmy, King Diamond, Andy Darris.
Quick question: Does King Diamond have to bring green bean casserole to attend dinner? Though
he ain't getting in my place unless he comes in with a finely baked green bean casserole.
I figured there was a condition attached to his invitation. I just wanted to clarify. Thank you, sir.
Yep. I would just I would Aaron the Metal Theologian. I would love to have him over for dinner. We'll go out to dinner somewhere. Alan, I'd like to go out to dinner with Alan. Let's be honest. Go get some Golden Corral.
Delightful dinner company.
I bet. Yeah, that's for me. How about you?
Let's see. Well, yes, I mean, obviously, lots of YouTube colleagues and friends that would be cool to
absolutely
do a dinner with.
Miss A, Lee, they're in there too. I'd love to go get dinner with them somewhere. Hell yeah,
for sure. But yeah, I'll kind of stick to the more conventional route. Probably looking for the famous people kind of thing. Let's see. Tony Iommi, I think, would be interesting.
Oh yeah.
John Oliver, he's quite the character, so can carry on quite a bit. Some others. Dio would probably be quite interesting. I want to say Adrian Smith. It'd be interesting to hear more of his perspective on Maiden and such over the years. I feel like you don't necessarily hear a ton from him compared to some of the other guys in the band. Trying to think if there's something more on the extreme metal side of things too. That would be especially interesting to tap into. Kai Hansen, just because fanboy.
Oh yeah,
yeah. We'll call it there. That's a pretty solid lineup.
Here's one from the chat. Mark Riddick. Cheers, my friend. Hey, Marty and Alan. Marty, between working on Wormgear Zine, running Binderoon, and hosting Heavy Metallurgy, what was one of the coolest bands you had the opportunity to engage with? I interviewed Dan Swano on the phone. He was super nice. I've interviewed Tampa from At the Gates. Rest in peace. Super nice dude. John Nodvite from Dissection. He turned out to be
maybe
something.
Less nice, but yeah, still cool that you got to interact with him.
He seemed very stoned when I talked to him. He
really,
yeah. I don't know. I've talked to a lot of really cool people over the years, and Maniacs. I talked to Steve DeGorgio for a Sadist interview. John McKenty, Daniel Corchado, Chris Reifert from Autopsy. At the time, I interviewed him for a Ravenous album that just came out. I don't know, man. A lot of cool people. Hegg from Johan Hegg from Amon Amarth early on. Super nice guy. Interviewed Isan on the phone during the Anthems era when he was dark and evil. He talked like this, very evil. That was an interesting interview. Yeah, I don't know. Bunch of people. Everybody go check out Riddick Art. If you need t-shirt, band, art, illustration for anything you got rolling, hit up Mark. He rules. Man, we get you back on the show.
Definitely. Yep.
Thanks for your question.
All right. Let's see. YouTube. I think this person asked one before. Area 51 Escapee. Yep, because we mentioned that name was pretty cool. What are some of your favorite bands from the late 60s to early 70s period of rock music? So it doesn't have to be metal, but even just rock. Late 60s to early 70s. So this would be pre-Kiss, so you can't say Kiss.
Could you read the question again? I'm sorry. I was reading the damn chat.
No problem. What are some of your favorite bands from the late 60s and early 70s period of rock music?
I like some Fleetwood Mac quite a bit. Rumors, the self-titled. Chef Kiss, some beautiful music. ABBA, as mentioned. I'm mentioning Kiss again just because they have to.
No, that's mid 70s. Nope.
Black Sabbath.
No one saw that one coming.
Yeah. I don't know. What about you?
Let's see. A few I would mention. Deep Purple, and not just Mark II, but Mark III. Purple is quite good. Even Mark I Purple is not bad at all. I think people overlook that era of the band a bit because it's pre-Ian Gillan, but some of that stuff is still quite solid. Let's see. Uriah Heep has some very good material on their early albums.
Demons and Wizards. What a great album. Was that?
But it tends to be all, people know Demons and Wizards, like, one or two songs, but the other stuff in their catalog is quite good as well for those first handful of albums. Hendrix. And for me, the Hendrix album has really become Electric Ladyland, not Are You Experienced? Are You Experienced has the hits, which are fun to listen to, but as an album overall, Electric Ladyland is one I've really fallen in love with more recently. Anybody else from that era in terms of bands? I'm not, and I'm safe. I feel safe speaking for Marty here. Neither of us have ever been Zeppelin fans, really.
Nope. I don't care for Zeppelin.
I don't. I like Led Zeppelin too. I don't mind them up through Houses of the Holy. But at the end of the day, I can really just, kind of pick and choose a few songs from each of those albums and make my own little playlist. And that's all the Zeppelin I really need.
Rainbow. I'd say Rainbow too.
Yeah, again, that's getting more mid.
They're 75, 70s, but yeah.
Yeah. So I was trying to think of anyone else late 60s. Cream, I like what Cream I've heard, but I've never worked my way through the whole Cream discography. Disraeli Gears is pretty good and has some good songs on it, of course. Blink Blue Cheer I never quite got into. They had the volume, but I'm not nuts about the most of the songs. Blue Oyster Cult now is active that early, and I do like that early black and white era Blue Oyster Cult. I think that stuff gets a little overlooked, just overshadowed by the later albums that made them huge. But those first few albums have loads of good songs on them.
Yeah, Pink Floyd's a good one too. I do enjoy some Pink Floyd.
Yeah. I spent some time a year or two ago working through more of that era of Pink Floyd, and there's a lot of good music there. Oh, an old favorite that I don't play very often, but I do like is Creedence Clearwater Revival. Always like John Fogerty and guys. Trying to run through my head if there's anybody else of that era. There's somebody I thought of after Pink Floyd, but kind of ran in my brain and then ran right back out.
What about Alice Cooper? Are you a Cooper guy?
I'm not really a Cooper guy, and
me either. Or Aerosmith.
Aerosmith, I actively dislike.
Yeah, I like some of their rock songs are good, but as they got more Disney ballad type bullshit, it's like, oh
yeah, no. Aerosmith has never been my band. Rolling Stones have never been my band, and I always felt like there's a few songs that are okay, and I've always felt like the Stones were a band I could eventually get into if I gave them more time, because there's some stuff that is clearly influenced by the Stones that I like a lot. As you get into more like the sort of early 70s punk and proto-punk stuff, a lot of those bands were drawing heavily on the Stones, and I like it in that context, but the Stones themselves I didn't. So yeah, darn it, there was one other band I wanted to mention. Early King Crimson. I love the first King Crimson album. I've been playing some of the other early stuff lately, starting to get more of an appreciation for it. Their later stuff gets so complex that I just don't have the brain power to understand what they're doing. But in the Court of the Crimson King.
Court of the Kingsome Crim. That's my favorite album by them.
There we go. There was one other band I did want to shout out here, and it was more of a 60s, because it fell somewhere in that Cream, Hendrix, Pink Floyd axis, and now I'm drawing a blank. If I think of it later, I'll shout it out. But yeah, fun question.
Yeah, here's one in the chat from Genact16.
Okay.
What are your favorite Dark Horse records? Records considered weak or disastrous that you like or think are underrated? I like Angus McSix, so that right there is.
Case closed.
I don't know if you call it a dark horse or not. List the horse is a unicorn, and you're wearing stretchy glitter pants while upon the steed. I don't know, but that comes to mind pretty quick.
Yeah. Oh, ones that are underrated.
Eurovision metal.
I could say something like the Grudge album, but nobody knows the Grudge album, so I don't know if that's a great answer.
Here's one I wanted. We'll go to this one next. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I'm still trying to think of some better examples for the underrated, because I know there's tons of them like that, but again, I often pick things that are just too obscure for anybody to give a crap about.
Right.
Which is why they're underappreciated. I like, this is a fair one. I like a lot of the 90s era Sabotage material, the Broadway era Sabotage. A lot of folks,
Meatloaf metal.
Yeah, a lot of folks, will really kind of lose interest after Hall of the Mountain King, but I like the 80s and 90s eras of Sabotage equally. I think their 90s stuff is spectacular.
Streets is a banger. That's a great record.
Yep. I think the last one from the late 90s is the first one that really kind of started to wear out its welcome for me. So there's that. Intruder, A Higher Form of Killing. It's a pretty generic thrash metal band from Tennessee, of all places, but I've always loved that album.
You and TJ have that in common. He likes Intruder as well.
TJ's a man of great taste. That's why.
Well, now let's not be saying crazy statements.
Yeah. There was that incident Wednesday night on the album club with that Dead Youth thing. So
that leprous thing.
You do have a strike against you now, TJ, with that Dead Youth. Don't worry, you can work that strike off with some time. It's okay. Yeah. All right, good question.
Yeah. Here's one that I started a while ago that
Sure.
I forgot to circle back to. From Metal Minions 25. Question for me. Rank the big four. I can do it right now. Ready? First, Megadeth. Second, Metallica. Third, Slayer. 4, Anthrax. That's me.
I think my answer is the same. I'm trying to see. Anthrax would definitely be 4th.
Though I do love me some Anthrax. Don't get me wrong. But
yeah. I'm trying to think when I put Slayer ahead of Metallica. Slayer has more good albums than Metallica for me. But the Metallica stuff was a lot more kind of formative to my development as a metalhead. Slayer was a band I got into slightly later than you'd expect for a thrash metal kid. And I don't really know why that is. It just played out that way. But yeah, I'd probably would have to say Megadeth, Metallica. I'd probably use the same Megadeth, Metallica, Slayer, Anthrax. I would put Slayer higher. There are more top-notch Slayer albums than top-notch Metallica albums. So like maybe those two get switched. But yeah, good question. I like that.
Yeah.
All right, let's do one over here. Jeff Goss asks if you could only listen to one metal genre. So this is keep or reap all genres but one. What one genre would you keep? Yeah, it's not easy. I think I would probably keep, and I alluded to it earlier, I think I might keep the quote-unquote epic metal genre. It's a genre that has a decent amount of range in it. Not every band sounds alike. If anything, a lot of the bands tend to sound different. So you get some variety. The songs tend to be pretty engaging overall, and they can have a different sort of emotional states. Some of it's pretty triumphant sounding. Some of it's kind of like you're about to get ridden down into the mud and die in a very inglorious fashion. So epic metal, I think, would keep, if I only had that one genre, I'd want something that could still offer some variety. Like I wouldn't want speed metal because it would all just be all fast all the time, and that would get old. So I will say epic metal. It even has a lot of those bands have a strong doomy component, but also a strong traditional metal component. So I'm kind of able to hear a lot of different sounds in that style.
I'm going to say heavy metal. I think that encompasses, there'd be a few bands that fell into that gray area that I could still listen to.
Yep.
And, I've heard plenty of forest-born dissonance and old school brutality to have a pretty good spot in my mind moving forward. The heavy metal at this point in my age, in my life, is a little more fun, something a little more uplifting, and can still dig into some other emotions too. So yeah, I would say just straight up traditional heavy metal.
That's fair.
Yeah.
See, I'm going to do one more quick one here. Chasm49 says, besides going to record stores, do you have a go-to online site that you all buy CDs from? eBay, Discogs, etc. Marty, where do you go when you got to do some shopping?
I go to eBay first. I always do. Coming into eBay when it first started, I was pretty enamored by the whole platform. And there's a lot of great CD sellers on there. So yeah, for me, it would be eBay.
Okay.
I do buy some stuff from Hell's Headbangers on occasion. Shadow Kingdom on occasion, which, kind of the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't go to eBay much anymore. I'll check, but I very rarely end up buying anything there. It used to, yes, that was always the go-to. But Discogs is a pretty obvious one. You're probably going to find what you want. It's just a matter of can you find it for a decent price? That can be a problem. And can you find it for somebody that'll ship to the United States without, the cost being crazy? A really good resource for this is this is not a distro, but there's a site that kind of compiles distros specifically for metal. It's called the Metal Detector. It's spelled with a K. Yep. I'll put it in the live chat here in just a minute. Basically, it's a very simple design. You just type in a band name and a title, and it will show you where that can be bought across different platforms online. It's not an exhaustive list, of course. There are some distros that just never seem to show up on there, but they definitely pull up a lot of obscure distros that you're not likely to think of unless you already know them. And you can often find better prices on things there. I mean, they will pull from Amazon. They will not pull eBay. They will not pull Discogs. So you have to check those separately. But they will pull Amazon. But then they will pull lots of other things, whether it's $20 spin or Hell's Headbangers or lots and lots of other ones. But they do hit a lot of the smaller distros, and that's often where you can find a good price if you're looking to save some money as you buy stuff. So yeah, I definitely will almost always check Metal Detector to see if I can find something, again, maybe I could get it through Amazon for $18.99, but oh, hey, this place has it for $12.99. That's $6 cheaper. That's half another CD that I just saved. Going over to, and I'll put it in the chat now.
I did already. It's up on the screen.
Thank you. Yep. Yeah. So yeah, Metal Detector is a good tool, and cheers to Ben over at Brain Smasher, who pointed that one out years ago, and I've made good use of it.
And speaking of another Ben, here's a question for Alan. I think I have a question for Alan. Did you ever think about writing in the metal form back in the 90s or early 2000s?
Writing in the metal form?
Yeah.
You did a little. I did a little. In the late 90s, I helped a guy do, I think we did 3 issues of just a very simple underground fanzine. It was literally called Underground Metal. I mean, it was like a staple it together kind of thing. And oddly, the weird thing there was I never met the guy. This was all completely done online, like early email and GeoCities website kind of design stuff around 90. That would have been around like 96, 97, 98 kind of time frame. So I did a little bit of it there, but never thought of it. And I think a lot of that was something that came up earlier, just living in areas where there never was much of a metal community or other types of, subculture communities. I was never in that environment where lots of people were like, we're forming a band, and oh yeah, this person's really getting into, taking pictures for the bands, and oh yeah, this person's starting a zine for a band. That was a culture I was just never exposed to. I grew up in a town when we got the second stoplight, it was a major event. That is not a joke. I know that's a joke, but it's not a joke. I remember distinctly when the town got its second stoplight and everybody was up in arms about it. I knew like one group of kids going through school who had a band that actually played the school talent show kind of stuff. People did not, there was no doing that. And then I kind of thought, when I went to college, there would be that kind of thing. Like, oh yeah, there'll be opportunities to do that. And tons of people, this is shit. No. I have found a few people here and there over the years, but it took a while. There was no metal scene or anything. So, and as such, it never really occurred to me to do something because there was no scene to partake in. So there's my somewhat sad answer.
Oh, wah, wah. Another Mark Riddick question. Name a few of the most prized possessions in your metal collection, something that you cherish for its rarity or its significance. Well, Alan mulls it over. Well, first, my grandmother bought me Kiss Alive. And I still have my original copy, although I did just get another copy of it in mint shape with the booklet and perfectly hardly played LPs for $6. But yeah, that Entomb's Left Hand Path original pressing, got it from Vinyl Solution back in the day. Love it. Sounds great. Emperor in the Night Side Eclipse, original vinyl. I got a lot of cool stuff. Some of it's limited. It's not jumping right off the page at me right now what to say, but those are 3. Anyway, I'm psyched to have. What about you, Alan?
Oh yeah, there's several. my copy of the Randy single. We've gotten so much meme value out of Randy, but it's also the punchline is that it's one of the best Euro metal singles you'll ever hear. My Big Daisy single, I always love that single. Another picture sleeve you just have to see to believe, and another one that musically is top notch. One that's an oddball fun one that I like. I have it's not a test pressing necessarily. It's a mock up version of a Venom single from back in their Neat record days. It's where they were trying to come up with designs for the labels to put on the single. And so, they just kind of quickly come up with an art design idea, plastered it on like, a test pressing of the single to kind of see how would this look. And apparently they didn't like the way it looked because they didn't use that actual label design for the single itself. It came from a, employee, someone who worked at Neat Records at the time. And when they, left, they could take, I guess they could take, but they took a lot of stuff with them one way or the other. And it passed, it ended up in my collection. It's just kind of neat because, it's essentially a one-of-a-kind Venom artifact that shows like, here's, something we thought about putting on the labels art-wise, and then later decided on a different direction. So definitely one of these sort of, more odd and rare items that I've got. But yeah, there's a lot of them that I'm attached to as just all favorites, and not, some of them, it's not that they're particularly expensive. It's just that, maybe it took a long time for me to track down, or just is like a weird format. The weird Megadeth promo for Rust in Peace that I showed a couple months back that I finally got after like 20 years of wanting one of those things with the little Eddie, or not the Eddie, the rattlehead that pops up out of the coffin. I love that thing.
That's cool. Yeah. All right.
Good deal. Let me see what's over here on this list. Mountain Gloom asks, do the two of you still enjoy the physical experience of listening to records and CDs more so than digital? And is the majority of your listening digital or physical these days?
I'm in a unique situation where I work from home, and out in my shop, I can sling either digital or CDs. But I think I still prefer the real deal because they sound better, CDs or vinyl. But with heavy metallurgy, there's no denying how convenient digital is, especially when we're talking about collections from bands that I may not have everything by, or just, matter of out and about, out for a walk or whatever. I can throw it on and do my homework throughout the day. So I would say it's about half and half for me these days. Excuse me.
Yeah, probably about the same for me.
Excuse me. Sorry.
No worries. Yeah, I'll listen to commute to work is about an album length commute. So in the morning, I'll listen to one thing, and that's going to be digital in the car. Same coming home, can basically listen to one album. Sometimes at work, if I'm just grading papers or something, I can put something on like YouTube in the background, listen a little bit as I work. When I come home, I try to make it a point, to listen to physical when I can. Like you said, sometimes looking or listening to stuff for metallurgy or whatnot, I may not have a physical copy of it. And I do have a lot of, part of, quote unquote collection of MP3s. I know that's slightly oxymoronic, but there was a lot of stuff that, and especially it tends to be like a lot of older demo stuff, things that there was never really a way to own a physical copy of it unless I own a 40-year-old cassette tape that wouldn't play anyway. So that kind of stuff at home I'll listen to on digital, but I am more likely to sit down, with a CD or LP and listen in the evening, kids in bed, work is done. It's like, okay, let's sit down, spin an album as I kind of wind down for the night. But yeah, given a choice, physical's of course always going to be a bit more fun, but digital definitely has its place. I've got nothing against it, and I make good use of it for sure.
Something just popped into my head from Mark's question. Another rarity that I have that someone that watches the show sent me. Someone sent me a Roadster Records copy of Crystal Logic by Manila Road. That's pretty damn cool. I don't know how rare that is, but it still felt like a gem when I opened up that package, not knowing what the hell it was. So,
Oh no, that's a very cool one.
Yeah,
good deal. All right, your turn to pull a question.
All right, from Metal Kev. He's got two of them here. What was the first channels that got you into YouTube or other streaming platforms? When do you think I would do this? Follow-up question. Whenever you have time, Kevin. I know you're a super, super busy guy. He's a chef up in Canada, and they work those poor guys and gals to death. What was the first channels that got you into YouTube or other streaming platforms? We'll start there. He's got another follow-up here, but
sure. Do you want me to go first? Or?
Go ahead.
For music, it was your channel, and it was very random. I was watching content on YouTube, but not for music. I was watching it for gaming content, Magic the Gathering in particular. About the time my son was born, obviously getting up in the middle of the night, take care of baby, crying, all that kind of stuff, feed him, burp him, and I needed something to make sure I wasn't dozing off, because I tried to do as much of that as I could so my wife could rest as much as she could. So I was like, as long as there's a bottle in the fridge and all that kind of stuff, as soon as because I'm one of those people that can wake up and get going pretty fast. She's not. So it just made sense. Like, as soon as he would start crying, I could get on my feet and get going quicker. But then, sitting there, in the rocking chair or on the couch or whatever, holding him till he would, kind of drift back to sleep. I needed to stay awake, because at that point, then I would start to crash. And I recognized pretty early that music was not a good option, because the music I would start to nod off to. So I started looking up basically podcasts or shows on YouTube about Magic the Gathering, because I was playing a lot of that. And since it was all like strategy tips, deck lists, stuff like that, you kind of your brain has to keep paying attention to understand what's going on. And it worked really well. It would keep me awake. I could just have headphones or just have it turned down really, really low and soft, and keep me awake until he would drift back off. And then, basically kind of start of the whole COVID mess. One day, I'm just working around the house. Like, okay, I need to vacuum and clean the porch and all that kind of stuff. Just picked up a tablet, went to YouTube. And then one of the first recommendations that came up was one of your Friday night Hangout videos. I had never typed anything. This will sound weird, but I had never really typed anything music related into YouTube. It was not a place I went to look for music.
It was fate.
It was just, I'm just like, it was just like, it was just like heavy metal Hangout. I was like, that's weird. I wonder why that popped up. And then as I'm like looking, I'm just like, I know that guy.
I know that drunk dummy.
And because it was, you had, your name, it was like, Marty Wormchan or something. So like, yeah, Marty and I had, chatted online back, late 90s and early 2000s a lot. I'd ordered stuff from his distro and had, issues of Worm Gear and all that. So yeah, it just completely randomly popped up in the algorithm for no discernible reason whatsoever. I watched it, and it was just immediately just like, holy crap. There are people on YouTube talking about all the music I've been listening to for 30 years, and I had no idea. So yeah, I listened to that like entire 3.5 hour thing that day, and then was looking like, oh my God, they do this like every week. So like the next Friday, I tried watching it live, within a week or so, like popped in the live chat to start talking to you, and look what you've done to me now.
Yep.
But
energy vampire.
Yeah. So yeah, that was it. Honest to God, it was seeing Marty's show pop up. The algorithm floated it to, there was no, I cannot stress enough, I did not watch any music content on YouTube. If I wanted to hear music digitally, I went to other platforms until I saw that. But what about you? You were obviously into it a bit before that.
Lazarus, Dwayne's channel, Lazarus's channel.
Where is Dwayne?
Dwayne, you okay,
Dwayne,
man?
call home. We're
Call
worried
home.
about you.
We're worried about you. We want you back on the show and see how you're doing.
Yeah.
His channel, LJ Biosite channel. Rest in peace, LJ. Holy shit. Enjoyed his channel. He was very enthusiastic. He had a massive cassette collection. Aaron, Metal Theologian. I watched him a bit. Sean Count Blaggereth. That guy. He'd be the guy I would watch. You know, he was much younger then. And I'm like, I can do this. I'm not saying I could do it better, but if this guy can do it, I can do it. And then once you get into that algorithm, it started showing other people. Who else was? Greeno was in the mix. I saw some. Scott Waters, his channel. He showed a lot of heavy metal stuff and a lot of thrash stuff, and just started the people, the old heads of doing it. And it wasn't long, and I watched and with interest, kind of taking mental notes, and eventually set up the camera and did it. So yeah, that was about my genesis in the whole thing, I guess.
Good deal. All right, let's see. Next up over here in the YouTube post from Zaki8. Is that 898 or B98? Favorite guilty pleasure non-metal album is part one of this.
So there is no guilty pleasure.
Guilty pleasure but for like a non-metal album, maybe something that you shouldn't love, but you do.
Angus McSix.
Yeah, that's non-metal. I'll agree.
Non-metal. I love Neil Diamond. Greatest hits, man. I'll put that on and sing the whole damn album.
Yeah, that's fair. Yep. Let's see. 3 very quick ones for me. Let's see. Debut Gin Blossoms album, which I'm blank. New Miserable Experience. Counting Crows, August and Everything After, their debut album. And Bruce Springsteen, Born in the USA.
Right on. Trying to think of some other stuff. I don't really feel guilty about much of anything, to be honest.
Yeah. I'm not guilty about those, but yeah, it fits the nature of the question.
They're
the things you would not expect people running heavy metal shows to want to listen to.
Yep, I do like goth music. I do like industrial music, electronic music. I'm slowly branching out, trying to learn more about, especially goth. There's so much of it, and a lot of it is very interchangeable, but there's still some good shit. I don't know. I'd have to think about that one a little bit harder.
That's okay. Let's see. Zach's got several parts to this, so let's try the next one then. Ever have a weird interaction with a person after they found out you listen to metal? I honestly don't think I have in particular. Probably the closest I have, like an aunt. She's a very nice person. Not into anything extreme whatsoever. And so it was always kind of, fun, as a kid, be like, oh, what do you want for your birthday or Christmas? I always made sure to put the sickest, most extreme album I was looking for on the list for her to have to go buy or look for. Because it was always funny to imagine, the prim and proper aunt having to go to Camelot or something, be like, do you have Napalm Death? I even remember her asking me, just like, is that really the name of a band? Like, yes. She's like, and you really want me to get it for you? Mm-hmm. So that'd be the closest I ever came. Part 3 then. Who's taller? I think Marty's taller. I'm about 6'1".
No, we're same. We're same. I'm 6'1".
Okay.
My kid is 6'4", 6'5". So yeah.
Okay.
He's got us both beat.
He's got us both beat.
Yeah.
Least favorite subgenre of metal. We talked about that earlier. Worst show you've ever seen. For me, it was seeing Rhapsody and Manowar play in North Carolina. That show was bad for multiple reasons. It was a pretty good venue, but they had hired extra security, or either extra or different security that night, and security were being dicks. I had to go to the show by myself, which, is always a little bit, less fun. And both bands were just kind of off. Rhapsody sounded okay, but seeing them play in this like wood frame club in a small city in North Carolina, just the venue and their style of music didn't match, because they're trying to do all this, join us for the fantasy of our enchanted dragon and the emerald sword. And the place looks like it's where you'd film an episode of Hee Haw. It just didn't work. And then Manowar came on and did their typical bullshit, just phone it in for a while, talk way too much. It spent forever, like, anointing some 12-year-old kid into the brotherhood of true metal. Just like, shut the fuck up.
That doesn't go over as well these days.
Yeah, it's just, it was very lame. They were very obviously just killing time. So yeah, that was definitely the worst show I've seen.
It is amazing, because mine also is Manowar. Manowar is one of the best shows I've ever seen, and it is one of the worst shows I've ever seen. I've seen them twice, and it was at St. Andrews Hall in Detroit. Immortal were opening for them, which is already a weird bill, but they were great.
Yep.
Manowar came out, and there was about 50 people at St. Andrews. So there's this big theater, and it's not even a quarter, maybe 100 people. I don't think there was 100 people there, but yeah, Manowar, they're practicing for the European festivals is all they were doing. And
Yep.
They had too long of an intro. They all did long ass solos, and they played for about 45 minutes, and they only played a handful of songs. They were too fucking loud. I hate to say that. If it's too loud, you're too old, but there was no bodies in there to soak up the decibels. So it was just, I mean, the kick drum, you could feel your nuts. It felt like you're getting kicked in the nuts every time Columbus's kick drum hit. So yeah, they're the worst. That was like one of the worst shows. Phoned in is perfectly, yeah.
Okay. And let's see. Then the last part of
I will say also another one was that festival out east. One of the Jack Koshkicks. It might have been November to Dismember. I can't remember the name of it. It was in Jersey.
Yeah.
But he had a curtain separating two stages and had both stages playing simultaneously. Yeah. On this side, Deceased was crushing. There was a big pit, a lot of people. You walk around the curtain, and there's Virgin Steel standing there in front of 10 people. Just Deceased blasting through the curtain. I'm just like, it's not fair for any band to do that too,
Yeah. Well, Jack wasn't exactly fair to bands, now was he?
No, he didn't give a fuck about bands. And I got to see Virgin Steel though, so that was cool. But yeah,
yep.
At the time I didn't care, but I still got to see him.
Yep. Let's see. The last part of Zach's question was most disappointing album you bought, not heard, but bought.
Where is it?
Most disappointing. There's been a lot that are disappointing, but
New Metal Church. Oh, New at the Gates is the last one I bought.
No. Worst, most disappointing.
Oh,
I don't think that's been your most disappointing purchase.
You know what? I found used downstate a week or two ago. Me and the kid went down. I got a Sargeist Horn God or something split. It's terrible. It's really, really shitty bottom feeder, shitty black metal. And I do like some Sargeist, or I wouldn't have bought it, but it was cheap. Like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
It's a shitty split. I think the horned one or Horned God or whatever was better than Sargeist on here. I'm like, wow, I didn't expect that. But neither of them, you could tell it was throwaway shit material for both bands. So,
yeah.
I'm
trying to think. A lot of the kind of classic, most disappointing albums I never did buy. Like, I never bought Eluded Divinum from Morbid Angel. I never bought the Risk from Megadeth. So yeah, I might have to default back to something like the Black Album or I Hear Black. Those would both be down there. There's a Bonfire album called Knockout that was very disappointing when I bought it, because I love their first 3 albums, and I think Knockout's the 4th one, and it's way down there. Wake of Magellan from Sabotage. That was the first time I felt like Sabotage. Yeah, I had their run on Broadway had kind of ended, so to speak. So those would be candidates at least. There's probably something that was worse than any of those, but those would be down there. All right. So, yep. Thanks for the questions, Zach. So, Marty, over to you.
All right, from Logan the Beer Snob. Were there any hobbies or interests as kids that awoke the sick little monkeys that's helped transform you into the metal collectors and holders of sick metal knowledge that you are today?
I would say yes. For me, I can see where it came from. I was one of those kids that tended to collect everything. I mean, like even Star Wars figures, first coming out there in the late 70s,
Yeah.
because you'd flip it over on the back and they'd have pictures of all the
Yeah.
other figures, and you just like start circling the ones you want and crossing out the ones you didn't have. So there was already a collector mentality right away from that first line of toys. But I mean, I went through baseball card. I did sports cards, baseball cards for quite a while. Got out of that when the hobby got ridiculously expensive. Did comic books for several years, but same kind of problem. Comic books just mushroom out of control over time. All the different kind of classic toy lines of the 80s, was, there was none of my, could ever really be completist about. You didn't have the money, didn't have the access, going to any place that actually had a toy store. I remember the first time going to an honest to God toy store, not just a department store with toys in it. Was like a huge riff. I was like, holy shit, they have these stores that are nothing but toys. That's a concept I didn't get introduced to until well into upper elementary school. So yeah, those kind of hobbies and things definitely set the stage for the monkeys to get their dirty little paws all over me when I got into music.
Yeah, and very similar. For me, I was the only child, so I had a tendency to collect as well. There was comics, baseball and football cards. Even though I was not really into baseball, I still had cards. Football cards, I watched football, so I was more into that. Star Wars toys, man, I had a ton of them. Then it moved into G.I. Joe toys, and a lot of those. And then, music. My money started going into music. And was there anything else I collected adamantly? No, then I just kind of went to Kiss Records. That was the next thing. And then the fascination with music took over. And I started getting older and wasn't playing with toys anymore. And I think I still have all my Star Wars shit. It's under the crawl space at my parents' house, and apparently there was a leak there, and it's all just sitting under there. I didn't keep the boxes or anything. It's just the toys, but still, my dad's like, "You gotta come get them," and I looked in the hole to go get them, and it's all black. I'm like, and spiders, and I'm like, I'll deal with it someday. We're not dealing with it today, so it'll just be heartbreaking to grab all that shit and throw it in the dumpster. But what are you gonna do?
Yep. And Andrea just answered your question about baseball cards in the chat. Good question.
Yeah.
All right.
Good one, Logan. Thanks.
Yeah. Oh, so me. Okay. Got a couple of fast ones here. Let's see. Robert Morris. Robert's a cool guy. He's watched for a long time. He comments. I mean, Robert and I chat pretty much every week. When I post a video, he always has some good insights, and we back and forth for a bit. He asks, is a bolt thrower deep dive in the cards at all? Yes, it absolutely is.
Yeah, it's amazing we haven't done it yet.
One of the only reasons I think we haven't done it is a couple of years ago, Marty did a bolt thrower deep dive on another channel.
I did?
And so, yes, you did. Yes.
Thanks for remembering. I don't remember.
I'm trying to remember who you did it with now. It wasn't.
You sure?
Yeah. Yes, I'm very sure. Because the thought process was, well, there's no point in doing it for a while because you just did it with somebody else, and then we've never circled back to it. Because it's also not a particularly long discography, so it's maybe a little short for a Metallurgy episode. But who did you do that with? It was somebody like Thralls of Metal. I don't think it was.
I did not do it. I've never been on Thralls of Metal.
Okay, yeah, I'm saying it was somebody like that. It wasn't Matt.
It wasn't Jeff. I don't think him and I did that.
No, I don't think it was Jeff, but it was some other. It wasn't. I don't know, but you are out there doing a bolt thrower breakdown with a couple of other guys on some channel.
Huh.
Chat, somebody, Devin, maybe somebody remembers what channel it was or something.
Huh.
But
Yeah,
I want to say it was maybe somebody like Depeche Commode, like Chris, or
I think they did it, but I don't know if I was involved.
those
I don't
guys.
know. Obviously, I'm not present in my own body sometimes, so
Somebody out there will know. But anyway, yes, a bull thrower would make perfect sense. We will get to that one. Let's see, another quick question here from Thomas Channing. Are there any bands you think you may overly dislike because of a bias against them? For example, they got too big or they
oh
changed their sound or something.
yeah,
Any band that you feel like you kind of know you're unfairly biased for some reason about.
yeah. Blood Incantation. I
Ah,
I don't
okay.
know why. I honestly I don't know that I love where they're going, and I think part of the reason is I don't think they've gotten where they need to go yet. I think they're, oh, here's a prog part, and then there's like a light switch, like, okay, now it's death metal again. There is no integration between their two styles, and the fact that they've blown, I get why people really like that band because they're a good band, and they've, like I said it on here a million times, they've earned every fan. They've toured the world. They're doing the thing. Endless props to them, but I've got all their material leading up to the new one, and I don't care. I don't ever listen to them anymore. I just don't care. In fact, I think I sent all the CDs to Ed from Ed's Den of Metal, and I kept the vinyl. So I don't know. What about you, Alan? What do you think?
Sorry, I got typing a response to Andrew here. So get that fired off. I think for me, a good answer here is actually Cannibal Corpse. My issue with Cannibal Corpse is kind of multifaceted. A big part of it, though, is simply the fact that they got very overplayed on college radio around the time I got to college and was listening to college radio. It was literally like they couldn't go through one single hour of the metal show without playing a Cannibal Corpse song. So I got very tired of them. The other angle on that was just the fact that when people wanted to talk about Cannibal Corpse, it was always, of course, like, oh, it's so fucking sick looking. Oh, it's so fucking gory, so gross. So it's just like, yeah. Oh, what about the music, dude? You see like this, zombies eating each other out and stuff. Just like, yeah. That didn't bother me any. I mean, my friends and I had worked through the horror section at the local, video rental place. I'd seen plenty of sick crap by then. I have no idea how many times I watched like Peter Jackson's Dead Alive, for example. But I wasn't going to I wasn't giving Cannibal Corpse points for just, coming up with gross cover art. I wasn't necessarily taking points away from them, but that wasn't selling me on the band either. It's like, I don't care that the song titles are gross. How's the music? I was kind of lukewarm to what I was hearing, and nobody else even seemed to be registering what they were hearing. They were just buying it and wanting to, they were wanting the shirts and the albums just because they looked so shocking. I'm like, shock value, I'm relatively impervious to. And I guess, just in a broader context, I've always been kind of standoffish about gimmicks. That, when somebody's, trying to sell you on something and hype you on something, I tend to be the person just like, why would I give a fuck about that? Convince me why I should give a shit. You can't just like be like, hey, bright, shiny new thing. And for a lot of people, it's like, bright and shiny, bright and shiny, bright and shiny. I'm the one standing there with my arms folded. I'm just like, why do I give a fuck? I don't care that it's bright. I don't care that it's shiny. What is it? Give me some details. Oh, you can't? Well, then fuck you. I don't care about it. So I think that was always a problem with Cannibal for me. I'm not taking anything away from the music. They've obviously been a long-running, veteran band. They obviously, have, lots of technical capability and all that kind of stuff. But just hearing too much of them on college radio and everyone just, all the accolades for all the wrong reasons just always irritated the shit out of me. And so I've never really gotten into Cannibal because of that. I think I've owned 2 Cannibal Corpse albums in my entire life. And just kind of ended up avoiding them because of those things.
Yeah. All right.
All right, so a couple of good ones there. Back over to you.
Blitzkrieg Andy. Marty, how did you get involved in working with Panopticon? Maybe a boring story, but Austin has a friend here, a mutual friend, Jack is his name. He was the singer on the Kolga project. They're friends.
Yeah.
They've been him and his wife, and Austin and his wife were friends. And Austin was over here in Traverse City visiting, and both of those guys were Beinrune fans. And they concocted a plan. Let's order something from Marty and see if we can get him to deliver it in person or go meet up and have a beer with him. And I got a call. I don't know. Somehow they got my number, or I don't know how it worked out. But they got a hold of me and wanted me to deliver a hoodie. And I'm like, all right, I'll do it. The address was just like up the road. Seriously, like down the road from here. So I drove down there and we hung out, and I would see them every day after that. We just kind of all hit it off. And yeah, been talking to him almost every day ever since. He's, co-owner of Beinrune, and yeah, great dude. It just was kind of a natural progression. He was always thinking that I wouldn't put out the music because it was so politically minded. And and I said, well, it's not politics that I overly disagree with. So yeah, your shit rips. Let's do it. And that's just kind of where it went from there. Maybe a boring story, but there it is.
Yep. Good enough. All right, let's see. We've got next up George. George's Room of Rock.
G. Room of Rock.
Cheers, George. George asked, is there a band you don't really like much with the exception of one of their albums? And I'm going to preface this by saying this is a very cool question. Marty and I have actually been toying with this for an episode down the road. So
we can have George be a part of it.
And maybe, yeah, if you're interested in that one, we could have you back on for it. So I'm not going to go through a bunch of options here.
I have to really think about that.
One off the top of my head, and I'm going to cheat very slightly. I like 2 albums by this band, but they have a pretty long discography. So the difference between 1 and 2, it's not like I'm picking half their catalog. They've got, God, I don't know how many albums they've made. Dream Theater. I really enjoy the first 2 Dream Theater albums, and I don't care about any of the others. And I have tried. Even Awake,
I have not tried. I've heard 1.5 albums by that band.
Yeah.
I own one, so 2.5 albums.
I have owned a bunch of them. So I have tried and tried. Awake, I've gone back to several times over the years. I've never connected with Awake.
Pull Me Under is a good song. What a great song.
Pull Me Under is a fantastic. No, the debut I really like, and Images and Words I really like. But you get to that third album, Awake, and everything that came after it. I mean, obviously extremely talented guys, but for some reason the songs just really stopped connecting with me. So I'll cheat just a little bit and say that for Dream Theater, I like 2 of their many, many, many albums, but I've never found a third one that I really got into.
I'm drawing a blank on this one. I don't know. I'd have to really.
Well, that's all right. Yeah, again, I think we'll revisit this for an actual episode. I think there's definitely some mileage there. So yeah, great idea, George. And if we decide to do it, we'll reach out to you first in case you'd like to join in the fun.
Yeah, I'll have to take a knee on that one. Sorry.
No, that's okay. It's getting late. So yeah, it's getting a little hard to, and we've done a ton of questions. Let's see. There's one last one here in the YouTube comments. Let me fire this one off and that'll finish this list. This is from Nap Time again. Let's see. I found Heavy Metallurgy 3 years ago. I was looking for a review of Metallica's 72 Seasons and encountered the Album Club session. And I've been a regular viewer ever since.
Wow, we actually got one person to stick around. A lot of Metallica fans came to their defense in that one.
Yeah, a lot of we probably lost more subscribers than we gained from that outing, but that's okay. Anyway, Naptime asks, have either of you returned to 72 Seasons to give it another listen? I have played it once since we did that album review. And once again, there are a couple of songs on it that are fine, but it hasn't inspired me to really sit down and work on it thoroughly. Maybe it will someday, but to date, like I said, I revisited it once, heard it one more time. I was like, yeah, this song's all right. That one's all right. And there wasn't enough there that caught my attention to make me want to invest more time in it. Time for me tends to be a big thing anymore. Again, I get an album commute on the commute in, an album on the commute home, maybe one album in the afternoon. Metallica doesn't make short albums. If I'm going to devote time to something, it's got to entice me a little more than 72 Seasons has so far. What about you, Marty? Did you circle back to 72 Seasons?
I have not listened to it again since the album club spin cycle. I don't even own it. Of all the Metallica stuff, I do not own Lulu, and I do not own 72 Seasons. I own the rest, surprisingly. I don't have Garage Inc., but you know.
Yeah, you got those songs elsewhere, I'm sure.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. All right. So that double checking, but yes, that was the last question from the YouTube post. So you can work through what you got there still on Discord.
Okay, from Angelic67. What do you do when you're not listening to music or making videos? What's your basic work day, or what other hobbies you have, for example? I'm express myself through the medium of dance.
I collect armadillos and put them in my trousers.
Yeah. Good. Do you want to go first?
It's
we kind of already answered it a little bit, I guess, but
we've touched on it. Yeah, it's not an exciting routine, but I mean, I'm up by 6 a.m. Monday through Friday, commute to work all day, come home in time to have, some days I have to pick kid up from school. Other days, I'll get home around supper time. We do family stuff for a few hours until kids in bed. Then it's either, spend some time with wife and or, play an album, record a video for YouTube, do some metallurgy homework. I very much try not to bring work home. There are times I have to check up on things in the evening, but I'm pretty conscientious about making sure wrap up work when I leave work, so that when I come home, it's family time, and then a little time to relax in the evening before crashing. That's me. It's not super, like I said, I used to take like one night a week to go out and play cards with friends, but that just hasn't worked out for the past year and a half. So don't have any other big things. Weekends, it's my family time. Go out and do things that are going to be fun for the little guy.
Yeah, band practice every Monday. I do my own recordings. I'm a screen printer, so I'm printing some shirt jobs here and there. Me and the kid, one thing we like to do is look at the surrounding towns. We've kind of hit them all at this point, but just like look up random towns near us, see if there's any record stores. Our next big ventures, I think, are going to be Lansing and maybe Kalamazoo. But yeah, we like going record shopping. The kid is building his metal collection up, and it's fun going on a trip with him. It's funny, we don't talk a whole lot, but we listen to music and talk about little things here and there. But yeah, that other things, I fart around with some music on the side that I never seem to have the attention span to finish. Watch a lot of YouTube. People make content. A lot of homework for metallurgy. That takes up a lot of time. So yeah, that's the thing.
Yep. Okay.
Otherwise boring. Old boring. Yep. Let's see here. Is there anything? No, that one we've answered.
Yeah, there are some questions that we're hitting that were sort of repeats. So sorry if we're not reading the other person's version of the question.
That one we've already kind of answered. If you could have anyone, there's another Angelic 67. If you could have anyone living or dead as a guest on your show, who would it be? That would be a fun show, Alex, but I'm thinking Madison Oh, Madison. Milwaukee is about an 8-hour drive. We have to go down and around. Madison is not as far north, but it's a little further west, if I remember right. I'll have to look up on that. That he would like to go see that for sure.
Yep.
All right. Did I say that? Oh yeah. If you have anyone living or dead as a guest on your show, who would it be?
We could invite anyone guest.
I would like to have someone. I would love to talk to Andy Darris. I think that'd be, Kai Hansen. They all seem very personable. Tony Iommi. Oh my God. How would we manage that? Oh man.
Iommi was someone that jumped to mind for me, but I'm thinking somebody from that era, but maybe someone that you don't get to hear from as much. I mean, I feel like Iommi's story and all is, pretty well documented.
Yeah, it is. For sure.
So I was trying to think of, somebody else from that very early era of metal development, that could shine sort of a different light on some things. I don't know.
Tom Angel Ripper would probably be in a pretty interesting interview.
Could be. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, anybody would be an interesting interview. Everybody has something interesting to say.
That is true.
And I know we don't really, there's a reason why we don't venture out and do this a lot. We've talked about this behind the scenes a lot. You look at a lot of major YouTube channels, people that get bigger people interview, they don't get a lot of views. People don't seem to give a shit. And to go through getting somebody on and doing like just a designated interview, it just seems like the general consensus is people don't give a shit. So, the stress of, preparing good enough questions and the nerves that might come with, talking to somebody, it seems like kind of a waste of energy where, y'all aren't probably going to watch it anyway, or a small percentage of you will. So I'm not saying anything good or bad about it. I'm just looking around at the climate and the demographic of.
They tend to be, they're a lot of work and they don't necessarily generate a lot of folks just don't check them out.
Yeah, look at Jeff's channel. He does great interviews over there. He gets a lot of really interesting people on, and he's a very charismatic interview. He does a great job, and people don't watch it. It's a bummer. It's an absolute bummer.
Yep. Yeah, this one question on screen from Wade. I think you've got a very similar question still in the Discord list there that we haven't gotten to yet about putting together like a dream lineup, because I think somebody wanted like a 2-guitar, bassist, drum, vocal lineup. So do you want to just wait and get to that one when you find it in the list? Wade, we'll circle back to this one when Marty finds it.
It's basically the same thing. Vidar the Silent said, what is your dream lineup for the perfect concert, subgenre specific and or mixed? Dream concert lineup.
But is that band lineup? I thought somebody had asked about.
I didn't see the band lineup
group or something.
If there was a band lineup thing, I did not get it in here.
Okay. Well, we can try it both ways. What would be your super group lineup if you're assembling again? You get 2 guitarists, a bass, a drum, and a vocalist. So your super...
Denner and Sherman.
Okay.
Singer. Kiska. Drummer. Bass player Steve Harris. Or Steve DeGorgio. Steve Harris.
Okay.
Drummer Dave Lombardo.
Oh, good choice. Let's see. For guitar duo, I want Chris Oliva and Kai Hansen on stage behind Jeff Tate. Rhythm section, I'm, to be honest, a little less picky about. But
Ed Warby, good.
Oh,
good
drummer. I know who I want for drummer. Casey, what's his last name? He played for Camelot for several years. Casey Grillo. He's a really good, got a lot of nice technical finesse as a drummer. And bass player, we'll say Ian from Judas Priest, because he knows how to play bass and stay out of the way.
Yeah. Actually,
Okay,
he was wanting like a concert bill.
but yeah, okay, yeah, for a concert bill, then okay, like we'll pick like a headliner and maybe one or two opening acts.
I've seen a lot of bands over the years.
Yeah. And see, I haven't seen a lot of bands, so I don't, and I'm not used to seeing bands, and I don't really go see bands anymore.
So you don't think it's not something I think about much.
Exactly, yeah. But
this is a hard question. Why is this question so hard?
Because it's late and we're
brain mush at this point.
It would have been very. I will put Manila Road on that bill somewhere because that would have been a very cool band. See, like in their prime.
I saw them once, and they were great.
Yeah, I'm like, okay. If we're going to really play Fantasy League, I want to see Rage for Order Queensryche on the same bill as Open the Gates era Manila Road. And I know that wouldn't have been a particularly good packet pairing per se, but that's going to be, I'm going to put those two together.
I would like to see on a bill Dio Sabbath during Mob Rules era, doing no Ozzy stuff, just doing Heaven and Hell and Mob Rules. I would like to see Bolt Thrower reunited. I've never seen them. Oh. I missed out on them. I'd like to see Manila Road again. For sure. They can open. Manila Road can open. Bolt Thrower would be second. Halloween. Any year. I don't care. And Gamma Ray. And then the Sabbath with Dio. There you go.
Yep. Jay, and yes, Jay, I freely admit it would be a weird combination for reasons like what you're citing there. But no. I think just Queensryche, and you could say Mind Crime instead of Rage for Order, but just, that era, they're really at the height of their powers. Good deal. All right, Marty, what we got next on the list?
We're about done here. Everything else is...
Okay. We can...
There's one here. If you could only listen to one band, this is from Angelic 67. If you could only listen to one band artist for the rest of your life, what would it be?
One band or artist?
Yep.
That is... Okay, my knee-jerk answer is Judas Priest, because there's a good amount of variety. They've got a big catalog, so you get a lot of albums. You're going to want to pick someone with a big catalog here. You're not going to want to pick someone who made 2 albums, because then you can only hear 2 albums. Priest has a very long catalog. Most of it's very good. You're not having to throw many albums out there. And it's also a pretty varied catalog. I mean, you've got, the early mid-70s stuff, has a distinct style from what they started doing in the 80s. You get your sort of power metal fix, from the Painkiller era. You get a little bit of 80s production fun on Turbo and Ram It Down. You get some modern albums. You get some albums with modern Andy Sneap production, that still have solid songs on them. So something like Priest seems like it'd be a pretty safe one if you really just had to boil it down to a single artist. And I would take Priest over, before someone says it, I would take Priest over Maiden for sure. Maiden has a brilliant period in their catalog, but they also have a period that I'm just you get to a certain point in Maiden's catalog, and I don't feel like anything's really that essential anymore. So I'll go with Priest. If I think of something better, I'll blurt it out.
Priest is a good one. Maiden is a really good one.
Yeah. I mean, for Maiden, there's 7 albums I would love, but then you have all these other albums that, I don't know if they add a lot.
I'm surprised you didn't pick Riot.
Right. Well, now there is a good option. Yep. That is a good option. Yeah, maybe I should pick Riot. Yep. I mean, Running Wild has a great run of albums, but they stick to kind of the same lane. You're not getting a ton of variation there. And Riot gives you the variation if you go across all eras of Riot. So yeah, Riot would also be a very good one too.
Riot 5 singer just stepped down from the band apparently.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
I did not know that. And he's been involved with some other projects. I felt like I was a little worried his plate maybe was getting full.
He was doing it for family reasons.
Okay.
At least what the thing said anyway.
Yeah. That's a shame.
Yeah, for me, the easy answer is Kiss, but I've been listening to Kiss for almost 50 years now. I'm older than that, but yeah, I didn't find Kiss till I was 7 or 8. So,
Winter Caretaker has a good point. Yeah, something like Voivod, where you have like a lot of twists and turns, so you can do a lot of deep listening and still get stuff out of it. That's one reason. Now that Priest, that'd be a bit of a limitation. Priest isn't the deepest band in terms of songwriting.
And I would get that from Halloween. There's only like one album that is questionable in their catalog for me, but it's still good. Mm-hmm. It's different. Halloween would be a good answer. Maiden is a very good answer. I would miss not being able to hear anything from Maiden, but their last few albums have just been kind of okay to me, if not just bad. So, yeah, I'd probably say Halloween. I mean, shock to the system, right? But they offer a Maiden-esque quality, and there's a good variety in their catalog. There's some good albums with some cool deep cuts. So yeah, I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, I would put the Priest and Riot catalog side by side, and then make a final decision.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there you go. We were nervous about this, and you all made it super special and fun. Thank you so much. Hope we didn't bore the shit out of you. You don't get any porno grind with Halloween. No, you do not. No, you do not. That is a good thing. Yeah, we appreciate all you folks. Thank you for all the super chats tonight. That was a surprise. Thank you so much. You're all too kind. You're the best community on the internet. We appreciate you. And thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Alan, you have any tidbits or what's going on? Let's Talk Metal on Tuesday.
Let's see. I think I've got one video left in the bank.
Oh, no. Almost back to work. Time to make the cookies.
About time to, yeah, I've got a few ideas, so we'll get them going. Sweet. I don't remember what that video is. I think it's part of the series. I've done a series over the past 6 months or so of like, pick a genre, and here are some bands that made like, 2 like A+ 10 out of 10 kind of albums in that genre. So it's one of those, but I don't remember which genre I've got left. But folks seem to enjoy those, and I've got at least one more pre-recorded ready to go. So that'll be Tuesday's content.
Sweet.
Marty, what are y'all doing for album club next week now that Dead Youth thing is out of the way? Sorry, TJ, that one was not for me.
Oh, yeah. Kellen picked Meat Hook Seed's debut album, Embedded, which is a supergroup between Trevor Perez from Obituary and Mitch Harris, who is on Napalm Death.
Yeah.
And it's really good. I really like that album. That's a favorite for sure. But more importantly, tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, everybody, another stream is going to be here for you. It's going to be the Sabbatharium Hour. It's going to be a doom / stoner / sludge / desert rock leaning show. We're starting.
Did you say 8 o'clock? Sorry, Marty. Did you say 8 o'clock?
It's going to be at 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. Okay, so
8 o'clock Eastern.
An hour earlier than tonight. Yep.
We didn't want to interfere with if the Sadder Slay crew wants to stream, then we don't want to be stepping on their toes, especially because Rick and Logan are both, they do stuff with Sadder Slay too. So, your hosts will be Rick, Dreadful Rick from the Dreadful Minutes, and Logan, the Metal and Beer Snob. There's a bunch of new doom they're going to be talking about. So come on over, check that out tomorrow night. Hang with us at 8 o'clock. It'll be good to see all you fine folks over there for the show.
Yep. And then Sunday night you can hop over to Shredbeard's channel and check out theirs as well. Always a fun time with those
Mayhem
folks.
Sunday, absolutely.
Yep.
Yes, we did.
Wade had a quick question. Yeah, y'all covered that one, I believe.
We did. A couple of weeks ago we did Ripping Corpse, Dreaming with the Dead.
It hasn't been that far back.
No.
So All right. Well, I believe it is about time to call it then. That worked out great. Thanks again to everybody for the questions and the participation. Yeah, it worked out. This was quite fun. We'll have to do this again sometime and get more fun questions from the community.
Yep. If you're new here, consider subscribing. It may help the channel. We don't know. Probably does. We appreciate you either way.
Can't hurt.
It doesn't hurt. And go check out the Discord server. Link in the description. Oh, maybe it's not. I have to add that later.
There will be a link for.
There will be a link sooner than later. But thanks, everybody. You've been great. Thanks so much. And we will see you soon. Yeah.
Public service announcement. Sunday is Mother's Day. Don't forget that. That will end badly. So do something nice for your mother.
Right on. Yep. That's got to happen. All right.
That has got to happen. Yes.
All right, everybody. Thanks a lot. Cheers. Have a good one. Have a great weekend.